Coming October 2nd from the new Chrysler Corporation. By Sony, which makes Trinitron, Betamax, and a full line of home audio products. Sony, the one and only. And by Allstate Insurance Companies. You're in good hands with Allstate. Bob Costas with Mike Hafner in Buffalo. And Mike, can the Jinx end today?
I'll tell you what, Chuck Knox has had his time here in Buffalo, and I think this young club that he's built through the draft is ready to break that jinx, Bob.
Miami has won the toss. That's Nick Mickemeyer who'll kick it off for Buffalo. In three deep, Don Besselou, Tony Nathan, and Nick Giaquinto, with Nathan in the middle, but they kick it short. And it's taken by one of the up men across the 30-yard line where he's dumped.
Interesting kickoff, Bob. They put it in between the short men and the front men, and I think they're a little afraid of Tony Nathan. I've seen Tony do it when he was at Alabama. There's the starting offense.
Greasy's running backs, Williams and Howell in for Larry Zonka, who never signed after a contract dispute. Duriel Harris and Nat Moore, one of the deadliest of wide receiver duos in the NFL. Bruce Hardy is the tight end. Andre Tillman still bothered by a broken leg, sustained a year ago. And that offensive line is something we'll be talking about all afternoon. All kinds of juggling, a lot of unfamiliar names. Mike Hafner will tell us about it as the day moves along. From the 32-yard line, the first play from scrimmage of the 1980 season. And Greasy will give it to Delvin Williams, the former San Francisco 49er, to the 35. Call it a gain of 3. It'll be second down and 7. Steve Freeman from his strong safety spot made the stop, along with inside linebackers Shane Nelson and Jim Haslett. They play the 3-4 at Buffalo. Williams, Smerlis, and Hutchinson across the front. Lucius Sanford, Jim Haslett, Shane Nelson, and the former Ram All-Pro Isaiah Robertson are the linebackers. Mario Clark and Charles Romes, the safeties, or the corners, I should say. Steve Freeman and Jeff Nixon are the safeties. Second down and 7. Opening minute of quarter number 1. From the Miami 35. Greasy drops for his first pass of the season. Line gives him plenty of time. Stepping up and still looking. Greasy cut down at the line of scrimmage. It'll be third and 7. Scott Hutchinson got him from his right end spot.
Good pursuit by the young guy Hutchinson. Also Ben Williams. They didn't give up. And I'll tell you, there was a test for Bob Greasy. All of his receivers were covered, and that's the thing that Greasy's going to have problems with today. That Buffalo defense isn't as bad as people remember, and if you can't get a receiver open, you can't complete them. I don't care how good a quarterback you are. Greasy not known for his scrambling now at 35 years old. He did it when he was younger, but there's that great pursuit that'll make it a tough day for Greasy if he can't get the receivers open.
The offensive line did give him time. The receivers were simply covered. The nickel defense is employed now by Buffalo. Third down, and they need 7. Greasy again with time. Over the middle, in and out of the hands of his intended receiver. Charles Romes was there to break it up. And Miami will have to punt.
Oh, quarterbacks don't like that, Bob, when the receivers drop the ball. That was right there. Nat Moore doesn't usually do it. There's Greasy again, and again that excellent pocket. You mentioned that he had the time, and he's got Nat Moore on that hookup pass in the zone. Nat, you gotta catch those. Oh, Greasy will stare daggers at him for a couple series after that.
George Roberts is in now to punt. Third-year man from Virginia Tech. He's been consistent in his first 2 seasons, averaged 40.3 and 40.2. Kicks them high and generally with short returns. This is rookie Joe Cribbs out of Auburn. And Cribbs doesn't get too far. Shoved back at around the 27. Jeff Allen was in on the tackle. And a look at the Buffalo offense. Joe Ferguson, their quarterback. He has never tasted victory over Miami. Curtis Brown and Joe Cribbs, who displaced Terry Miller as a starting running back. Jerry Butler, Frank Lewis, the wide receivers, Reuben Gant, the veteran tight end. And there's the offensive line. Only Reggie McKenzie is left from the Electric Company, which once sprang O.J. Simpson loose for a 2,000-yard season. Conrad Dobler in at right guard in place of Joe DeLamielleure. Cleveland. first down, Curtis Brown carries. The 3-4 defense of the Miami Dolphins. Then Herter and Betters are the ends. Bob Baumhauer went to the Pro Bowl last year as the nose guard. Kim Bocamper, also a Pro Bowler, one outside linebacker. A.J. Dewey converted from a defensive line spot on the other outside spot. Larry Gordon in place of the injured Ernest Roan inside along with Rusty Chambers. We'll get a look at their secondary again following this play. It's 2nd down and 4. They keep it on the ground. Curtis Brown again, only a couple. It'll be a 3rd and short situation coming up for Joe Ferguson and the Bills.
You mentioned that defensive backfield. Don McNeil is a rookie, and I'll tell you what, when he matches up against Jerry Butler, the second-year man, that is going to be a matchup to watch today.
McNeil, a number 1 pick out of Alabama. Gerald Small, Tim Foley, and Glenn Blackwood are veterans. 3rd down, and we'll call it 2. We played 3 minutes of the first quarter. We have no score. The ball on the Buffalo 36.
I wonder when we'll see the shotgun first.
Gant, the tight end on the right side. Both wide receivers, Lewis and Butler, go left. They'll put it in the air on 3rd and 2. Swing it out of the backfield to Joe Cribbs, the rookie. He's got the first down, and then some. Cribbs is out near midfield.
Great story on Joe Cribbs. He's the starting running back. He's beaten out Roland Hook, and he's beaten out Miller, and yet he's returning punts and kickoffs, Bob, and we take a look at him now. Here's what you do on 3rd down in the NFL. Now you don't run the football in short yardage. You throw it because they've legislated the pass into the game. They've destroyed the defense. And look at Cribbs. He's got that great quickness, the first step, and he's going to give Miami fits all day. But he's returning punts and kickoffs and also the starting running back, and the last guy to do that was Gale Sayers.
From their own 49, it's 1st and 10 for Buffalo. Joe Cribbs taking that job away from Terry Miller, who as a rookie 2 years ago gained over 1,000 yards. This is Cribbs, but he'll be spun down for a loss of 5. Kim Bocamper from the left side linebacker spot made the tackle.
You don't fool Bocamper too often on that quick swing pass. It's not a good idea to throw on 1st down unless you go downfield.
In the first quarter at Pittsburgh, Terry Bradshaw has hit Sidney Thornton with a 29-yard touchdown pass, and after less than 2 minutes, the Steelers are in front in that big one over the Oilers, 7-0 in quarter number 1.
Well, you remember the playoff game last year, and this is kind of a continuation of that one, and we'll be keeping our eye on that Pittsburgh-Houston game all day.
2nd and 15 from the 44, 10 minutes and 18 seconds to play in the first quarter. Ferguson back with time. Unloading right side, deflected and intercepted by Bocamper. It was intended for Butler. Bocamper now laterals the ball back.
That's Ortega.
Ralph Ortega has it. And they're into Buffalo territory. So Bocamper picked off the ricochet, then lateral to Ortega for some extra yardage. Ortega, a former Atlanta Falcon, and on the turnover, Miami is in Buffalo territory.
And I'll tell you what, Jerry Butler, I think he's got a little bit of a complaint here. I don't mean to knock at Miami fans, but he might have got hit before the ball got there, and he complained a little bit afterwards. You see the ball bounce around. There's Bocamper with a pickoff, and shades of the Denver Broncos in the playoffs when they went to the Super Bowl. Now the defense is lateraling, and I have a lot of respect for Bill Arnsparger, the defensive coordinator, and I'm sure he doesn't like all this rugby stuff. You can fumble it right back to Buffalo again. But Ortega takes advantage of it, and now Miami has the best field position of the day.
We'll be back in just a minute with more action between Buffalo and Miami. Changes on that offensive line for Miami. Cleveland Green, untested, in at left tackle. Kuchenberg from guard to tackle. Ed Newman from left guard to right guard. Larry Little on the bench, the 14-year veteran not starting. And on this first down play, Greasy goes to the air and finds his man wide open. Duriel Harris inside the Buffalo 30 before Charles Rome stopped it. Harris, who caught 42 passes last year, an average of 19 a catch. 3 of them went for touchdowns.
Bob, there's what I talked about, throwing on first down. Don't throw the short pass. You want to go downfield because that's the big surprise on first down. And there's the master, Greasy. He fools me every time. I can tell you what most quarterbacks in the NFL are going to run. An old number 12 in his Dolphin jersey fools me about 60% of the time. He's a whiz.
Completing those offensive line changes, Mark Dennard, a number 10 draft a year ago, replaces the great Jim Langer at center. He's retired. Third-year man Eric Loxo starts at right tackle. Delvin Williams carrying on first down and doesn't get too far, running into the middle of the Buffalo defense.
And maybe, Bob, with with little out of there. He has started all 20 games in that 20-game streak. Now that he's on the bench, maybe that'll give Buffalo a break.
Miami has lost 3 of their last 6 season openers. The 3 they won were all against Buffalo.
Isn't that interesting? I'm sure Buffalo wants to change that today, but they're going to have to stop Mr. Greasy and company, and right now they got tough field position.
2nd and 8 from the Buffalo 26. 8:45 to play in the first. Moore left, Harris right, and Greasy again to the air. Line gives him time, and Delvin Williams out of the backfield for first down yardage.
There's a pass you're going to see in the National Football League more and more this season, going to the backs. They've legislated the bump. You can only do it for the first 5 yards, and now you want to isolate that running back with the great speed on the linebacker. And you see the perfect shot of it here. Our crew at NBC always picks it up. Delvin Williams, 24, against the linebacker Haslett. And when you get that kind of speed mismatch, you're going to get backs open in the National Football League every play. And we'll see a lot of it.
They're at the 16 with 1st and 10 as we move inside. 8 minutes to play. In motion is Moore. The handoff is to Howell with his first carry, and Jim Haslett makes the tackle. Haslett, who was the AP Rookie of the Year defensively in the AFC a year ago.
What a great player he is. And then Shane Nelson on the other side was a free agent, and he's started every down for the Buffalo Bills in his career. It's incredible. Free agents can make it. I did it about 7 times with a lot of different teams.
In about 5 or 6 different leagues?
Really. Different continents and the whole thing.
2nd and 8 from the 14. Greasy with the air game, which has been successful so far. This time, and Ben Williams pulled him down. Buffalo gets their first sack.
And Greasy fumbled, and give Ben Williams the credit. Williams was awesome. Ripped him right down to the floor. Greasy lost the ball, and Buffalo recovered.
Scott Hutchinson from his right end spot came up with the recovery, killing the Miami threat after Williams came through with the sack. There's Williams, 77.
Watch him. I mean, he's just so strong. He's only got jersey in his hand. He rips him down. Hutchinson really stripped him of the ball, and then he scrambles along and makes a recovery. And, you know, we talked to the Buffalo people. They said that Hutchinson might not play. It might be Dwight. It might be White. But after that play, he might have sewed up his job.
Yankee in his 3rd year at the helm with Buffalo, 5-11 in 1978, improved to 7-9 a year ago. Before he left Los Angeles, he had won 5 straight NFC West titles with the Rams. Joe Ferguson pitches to Joe Cribbs, and the rookie is out to the 30-yard line for a gain of 5 or 6 on first down.
Chambers in on the stop. It's very hard to run wide against the 3-4. I don't think we'll see very many sweeps from either club today, Bob. But this Cribbs is something. Oh, he is just one incredible young man. Returning punts and kickoffs. He's got the great outside speed. He's got the strength to run inside. And he's going to give the linebackers of the very famous no-name defense of Miami a lot of work today.
One of those linebackers, Rusty Chambers, made the stop. He was the leading tackler for the Dolphins in 1979. 2nd down, and we'll call it 4. And again, they work the rookie Cribbs. He's close to the first down, but short of it by less than a yard.
Again, you get that look at Cribbs. He ran outside last time with the great speed. This time the great balance inside gets the first down.
So they gave him the good spot and the first down. He was not short of it. They get the first down. 1st and 10 from the 34, and we have exactly 6 minutes to play in the first quarter.
I think you're right, Bob. I think they gave him the bounce afterwards. His knee touched, and they gave him the first down as a gift. That's a nice way to break in for a rookie.
Lewis comes wide to the right. Butler is wide to the left. Backs in the I formation, and they pitch it back to the rookie Joe Cribbs. Cribbs looking for running room, but the Miami defense converges on him. Den Herder was there, and so was Chambers.
Joe Cribbs could carry the ball 25 times in this game if they keep this up. He could be an awful tired rookie at the end of the day.
Wayne Morris has scored on a 5-yard run in the first quarter in St. Louis, and the Cardinals, after 5 minutes of play, lead the Giants 7-0. Lynn Kane ran one in from 3 yards out for Atlanta. They lead Minnesota 6-0. Also, after 5 minutes of the first quarter, the point after touchdown for the Falcons was missed.
The bartender, Mazzetti, missed one, huh?
2nd down. And 9 yards to go. Roosevelt leaks, running over people, then losing the football, but we'll see if they got the whistle before the fumble. Apparently so.
They said he was down. Good call. Excellent call.
Yeah, Roosevelt leaks says, hey, no problem.
He's a veteran. He's been around. Don't show those zebras that maybe I did fumble.
Hey, I knew the play was over. I just got rid of the ball. Leaks was waived by the Colts. Good acquisition for Buffalo.
Very true. In fact, the other fullback, Don Hardiman, was traded to the Denver Broncos during the draft, and of course they got Curtis Dickey, so they've got somebody to fill in over there in Baltimore. Just short.
So Roosevelt Leaks got a bit more than 9 yards on the play. There are the officials. Gordon McCarter is the man you'll hear on the microphone when penalties are called today. Speaking of which, Miami is not hit with many of those. They've been the least penalized team in the NFL for the last 4 consecutive seasons. Don Shula coaches them not to make mistakes.
Yes, he will not hold still for mental errors, and you don't play for the Miami Dolphins if you make them.
2 tight ends are in now in the short yardage situation. Reuben Gant and the rookie from Michigan State, Mark Brammer. 3rd down and about a foot from the 43-yard line.
Great time to throw the football, but they won't.
Ferguson thinks it's a great time for a quarterback sneak, and he gets the 1st down.
That's why I'm up here in the booth, and he's quarterbacking the club.
Oh, Bart Starr might have tried it. Or Johnny U.
Oh, yes.
So they have the 1st down, and there's Don Shula, who just this week signed a 3-year extension of his contract, the most lucrative for any coach in NFL history.
You saw the pregame show. I got a chance to talk to Don, and I'll talk to him at halftime if we get a chance to show you. And he's really in a rebuilding program. He didn't like that word, though.
20 draftees from the last 3 years are on the Dolphins' 45-man roster. Roosevelt Leaks carried. Vernden Herter brought him down after a gain of nearly 5. You talk about Shula and a rebuilding program. His idea of rebuilding is to keep winning as he rebuilds. Twice in Dolphin history, he has started 5 rookies in 1 year on defense, and both those seasons his teams went 10-4.
Yes, and we got Bill Arnsparger as your defensive coordinator. You can almost play 11 Grandma Moseses, and they're going to stop you most of the time.
Joe Cribbs and Roosevelt Leaks are the running backs. Lewis and Butler the wide receivers. Lewis right and Butler left. On 2nd down and 6, Joe Cribbs trying to vault over people. Picks up about 3 yards in the process, and he's into Dolphin territory. Bob Baumhauer hit him and stopped him. These same 2 clubs opened the 1979 season here. And in heavy rain, Miami beat Buffalo 9-7. The now departed Larry Zonka had a big game with 87 yards, including a 4th quarter touchdown. On the last play of the game, Tom Dempsey, who shortly thereafter was cut as the Bills' place kicker, missed a 34-yard field goal attempt, which could have won the game. Then later in the year, they went to Miami, and the Dolphins prevailed 17-7. Zonka, again a big day, 90 yards on the ground. Tony Nathan, then a rookie, returned a punt 86 yards for the game-breaking touchdown.
You talk about Baumhauer on the nose. Watch that matchup between Baumhauer and Will Grant, who's getting his first start in the NFL at center. That's going to be a real war, and Baumhauer's winning so far.
They may have taken too much time.
Oh, yes, 30-second clock ran out. That's going to cost them 5.
It was 3rd and 3. It'll be 3rd and 8 now. They had brought in Roland Hooks as the extra running back, and we're going out of a wing formation on 3rd and 3.
Shotgun coming up. Anytime Hooks comes into the backfield, and you'll see him pull the tight end, they'll go to that shotgun. We may see it for the first time today right now.
Why do you think it's taken another team so long to follow Dallas's lead?
Well, there aren't too many Joe Fergusons or Roger Staubachs around. And also, believe it or not, it's really tough to find a center that can make that snap, Bob. I mean, it's really important you don't fumble it, because then you blow all chances for a pass. Another thing, too, is you're telling the defense, we are going to throw the football. There is no threat of the run.
Ron Jesse, the 10-year veteran, acquired in a trade during the preseason with the Rams, is in as an extra wide receiver. He goes off to the left side along with Frank Lewis.
Hello, shotgun. There it is.
Lou Picone is also in at a wide receiver spot. He's off to the right. And from the shotgun, Ferguson still pressured over the middle and broken up. A flag, however, pass interference against the Dolphins. It was intended for Ron Jesse, and the veteran was interfered with. It'll be 1st down near the 35-yard line of the Dolphins.
And again, Bob, I told you earlier that I think Jerry Butler had a legitimate gripe on a pass interference play. Here, Ron Jesse was interfered with. There was was no doubt about it. He grabbed a hold of him before the ball got there, and that'll give the Bills the first down, and the shotgun worked the first time out. First time out of the holster. Here's a look at it. Ferguson gets a quick look at the defense. That's the advantage of the shotgun. He's got Jesse coming underneath in that zone, and you'll see the defensive back just hanging all over him, and it was a good call by the back judge.
That was Ed Taylor, who was in as a nickelback in the passing situation. They spot the ball at the 38. This was the deepest penetration so far by the Buffalo offense. Curtis Brown carries and goes nowhere. This telecast is presented by authority of the National Football League, and it's intended for the private use of our audience. Any rebroadcast or other use of this telecast without the express written consent of the Buffalo Bills and the National Football League is prohibited.
Interesting, first time we see the shotgun. There's a look at the Chicago score, Chicago and Green Bay.
Bob Thomas connecting from 42 yards out with 4 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the first quarter in that one.
Poor Green Bay. Boy, what goes around comes around. I remember when I worked with the Packers. Now they can't win for losing.
Headaches for Bart Starr. And Joe Ferguson. He has all day. Then Herter misses a shot at it. Ferguson tucks it away. They have the first down. Spins to around the 20, fumbles as he's hit.
And I think Joe Cribbs fell on the ball. The rookie's doing everything. No,
Miami has it.
What a break.
Let's see who got it when they unpeel. I think it was Vernon Herter, who showed some great hustle. First he missed a shot at the sack, and then he chased him all the way downfield. And after Ferguson coughed it up, then Herter recovered the fumble to kill the Buffalo threat.
Give credit to those defensive backs from Miami. Small and Blackwood and Foley and McNeil obviously had all the receivers covered because Joe couldn't find anybody. He had all day to throw. Now he's a great scrambler. He runs well, but you got to learn not to carry that ball like a loaf of bread. And watch him get this just stripped right out of his hands by the rookie, Don McNeil.
And Miami has it.
At about 4. Hey, David, if we have time, why don't we see the play one more time then?
Sideline, but I got that one. We had a shot at scoring. With a minute 36 to play in the first quarter, it's 1st and 10 from the Miami 22. Out of the backfield to Delvin Williams. And Williams does not get back to the line of scrimmage. Again, there's my example of a poor choice of a pass on first down. Go downfield when you've got them fooled on first down, and Delvin Williams gets nowhere on the short pass. Delvin Williams had a great year. The first season he came from San Francisco to Miami. He gained 1,258 yards in 1978, including 2 big games against Buffalo, 135 and 144 yards. Last season, when he missed a couple of games with cracked ribs, he slipped to 703 yards. And the 3-4 defense will stop you from gaining 1,000 real quick. 2nd and 11. And he got about 9 on that carry, out to the 30-yard line. That's where you got to run, Bob, against the 3-4 defense inside, and you've got to block those linebackers, and that's really tough to do. And again, you pointed out that the Miami offensive line is having some serious problems because it's really patchwork. But there's an excellent block on the linebacker that time, and they'll spring you inside. Bob Kuchenberg, who ought to be able to block linebackers, has been in this league a while, opened up a nice hole for Delvin Williams, and that's the way to beat the 3-4. Inside, block those inside linebackers. 3rd down and 2, and this time Miami may have taken too much time. 30-second clock's right in front of him. Greasy ought to be able to see it. He's been around too long to miss that one. I think somebody jumped on the line, though. Yeah, Buffalo jumped outside. So that's going to give Miami a first down with just 13 seconds remaining in the first quarter. We mentioned all the patchwork being done along the offensive line for the Dolphins. The man in charge of that, along with head coach Don Shula, offensive line coach John Sandusky. And Ed Newman started 42 games. Let's listen to the boss.
Defense, first down.
Merlis, the nose tackle. Here's a good look at it. He's trying to anticipate the count. That's what you do with nose tackle. And he thought he saw a little twitch from Dennard, but the Zebras didn't see it that way. 1st and 10 Dolphins at their own 35. We're scoreless, and this might be the last play of the first quarter. Play action fake to Williams. Deep drop by Greasy. Bullet over the middle. Man is there. And a fumble as he's hit. Bruce Hardy, the tight end, popped it up. And Buffalo has it at midfield.
I think Steve Freeman got it. And this is Fumble City here this afternoon. Must be the first game of the season. How about?
They're going to give the fumble recovery to Jeff Nixon, the free safety. Jim Haslett might have been the man who jarred it loose with the hit. Here it is again.
Bruce Hardy tries to do too much, Bob. He's got the first down. You don't have to worry about it. Look, he's wide open. He's beaten Shane Nelson. Now he tries to be Delvin Williams. And again, carrying it like a... And Haslett nailed him from the back.
Haslett knocked it loose. Nixon recovered it. It's Buffalo ball.
Good look at the fumble play, and again, Hardy's got to remember that he's not a running back, he's a tight end. He wanted the first down, he got it there. Now tuck that thing away, will you, Bruce, for crying out loud? And Haslett hits him right in the middle of the back. It bounces away. As you pointed out, Jeff Nixon, Johnny on the spot for the fumble, and that's the third one we've had, and we've only played about a quarter of football.
Buffalo has 2 fumble recoveries. Miami has a fumble recovery and a Bo-Camper interception.
4 turnovers in a quarter, and that gives coaches gray hair, Bob.
The ball just across the 50 and into Miami territory. 4 seconds to play in the first quarter. Bob Costas along with Mike Hafner. Blitz. Ferguson will put it in the air against the blitz. He's got his man, Frank Lewis. Lewis for a gain of 18.
And give Joe Cribbs a lot of credit for picking up that blitz. Tim Foley was blitzing, and that left Frank Lewis wide open.
Last season, Frank Lewis caught 54 passes for more than 1,000 yards. Great year for him. And at the end of one, we're scoreless. Ferguson breaks them out of the Buffalo huddle. A year ago, he was calling his own plays. This year, head coach Chuck Knox, in consultation with quarterback coach Kay Stevenson, sending them into Ferguson. But of course, he has flexibility. He can audibilize at the line of scrimmage. 1st and 10 from the Miami 32. Hands the ball to Curtis Brown. And Brown, the 4-year man from Missouri, gets 3 or 4 yards.
Not often you see a 205-pound fullback. It's just not really what happens. Oh, look out for Pittsburgh.
The Steelers have struck again. Franco Harris from a yard out. 14-0 with 3 minutes and 47 seconds to play in the first quarter. And the Steelers looking to establish who's boss in the AFC Central right off the bat.
I thought Houston maybe would give them a run this year and have a real shot at the Super Bowl, but Bradshaw and company just won't let anybody take that away from them.
2nd down and a long 7. Opening minute of the second quarter. The rookie Joe Cribbs getting a lot of work, but not too many yards this time.
Again, Bob, I hate to keep pointing it out, but you can't run outside against a 3-4 defense. Those linebackers are so quick. They're probably as fast as Joe Cribbs himself, and it's very, very difficult to run outside against a 3-4.
Bo-Camper and Ortega on the tackle. And we might see the shotgun now. It'll be 3rd and 9. They lost a yard on the play.
Anytime you see Roland Hooks come in, Ron Jesse, here's again, over and over again, I'm going to point it out. You don't run outside against the 3-4. Those linebackers are just too quick. The pursuit's outstanding. I'll tell you, Bo-Camper's not the guy to meet in the dark alley anytime. He'll nail you.
Frank Lewis is in motion, and Ferguson thinks they're not set properly. They were set up in the shotgun, and he has to expend the timeout here.
You see,
he doesn't like it.
You see, Joe, what's going on here? Don't these guys know how to play?
We've got 13 minutes and 34 seconds to play in quarter number 2. No score. Back after this. So it's 3rd and 9 for Buffalo at the Miami 31. In 13 games in his career against the Dolphins, Ferguson obviously is winless, but he hasn't done that badly. 54%, 13 touchdowns, 12 interceptions.
Not his fault, it's the defense's fault.
As we told you at the top of the telecast, 20 consecutive Miami victories over Buffalo. Plays like that might change things. They may rule that he trapped it, though. Let's see if they'll give him the catch.
Oh, it was a good catch.
They do.
There's that shotgun again, Bob. You get a good, quick look at the way the defense is setting up. You can read zone, strong side, weak side, and find out right away where that open man's going to be. Look at Joe. He's looking right downfield now, and he's got it wide open.
Lou Picone made the catch. He had his biggest season in 1979, catching 33 for an average of 17 yards per grab.
You know what he's most famous for? He used to room with our Mike Adamley when he was at the Jets.
From the 16 on 1st and 10, they pitch it back to Curtis Brown. Brown switching directions. A loose football as he's hit. And Miami has it. That's the third Buffalo turnover. 2 fumbles and an interception, and another threat dies.
I'll tell you what, both coaches' hair turned another shade of gray on either side of the field already with all these turnovers, Bob. It makes for sloppy football, and you can't get your confidence up.
Larry Gordon recovered the fumble. Curtis Brown was the man who coughed it up. We're coming back right after this. 1979 season, all of which Buffalo lost. Their offense produced only 1 touchdown, and turnovers like we've seen them be plagued with today. One reason why.
Demoralized, I'll tell you, and you can't run wide. He tried to make more out of it than he could, and that's when you get the fumbles, and Larry Gordon was right there to pick it up.
Now from deep in his own territory with Nat Moore in motion. Greasy hands to Delvin Williams. Williams turns it around the outside and gets 6 or 7 before he's shoved out of bounds. First down so far. Buffalo has 5. The Dolphins have 3. Bills have 53 yards in rushing to Miami's 16. Miami has 41 passing yards to Buffalo's 25.
Give Kuchenberg the accolades for that gain. That old veteran, he pulled out that time, made the wide one go because he blocked the outside linebacker, and it's into the short side of the field, if you can call it that anymore with the moving of the hash marks. But that's the way to do it if you want to get outside quickly, and especially on first down.
2nd and 3 from the 22. This is Steve Howell. It'll be 3rd down coming up. Howell, the second-year man from Baylor, who has to fill the shoes of Larry Zonka. And Pittsburgh continues to pour it on. Matt Barr with a field goal from 27 yards out. 2:21 to play in the first quarter at Three Rivers Stadium in Pittsburgh. It's 17-0 over the Oilers.
And you said the key, Three Rivers Stadium. Nobody likes to go there and play the Steelers. Snake pit.
New England jumps in front of Cleveland 3-0 on a John Smith field goal, 37-yarder, early in the second quarter. Howell goes out, and Tony Nathan is in at the other running back spot alongside Nick Giaquinto. A flag is down. The pass is complete on 3rd down. They have what they needed for the first, but let's see what the penalty was.
There's that illegal chuck. Oh, offside. That's the last time I guessed today.
Either way, it works out for Miami. They needed 4 for the first down. They got it by the pass. They would have had it through the penalty.
Number 77, defense, decline, first down.
Ben Williams trying to get an extra jump. When you're in that 3-4, it's tough. You always have 2 people blocking on you in a pass situation. And you try and get a little extra edge, and that catch you jumping off sides every once in a while. Uh-oh, your Cardinals have been tied.
Giants coming back with a touchdown after St. Louis had jumped in front on a Wayne Morris run. Phil Simms hits Ernest Gray from 10 yards out. 3:33 to play first quarter. They're tied at 7 apiece. Minnesota back with a touchdown and a 7-6 lead over Atlanta. Tommy Kramer to Sammy White from 24. 4:54 to play in the first quarter in that one. Nat Moore is in motion. 1st and 10. Delvin Williams cut down. Isaiah Robertson flashing that old Pro Bowl for us.
I'll tell you, he was on a bit of a blitz that time, and even before Delvin Williams got the pitch, Isaiah's sitting there waiting for him. He's done it a couple times, and of course Chuck Knox had him at Los Angeles. They got in a little bit of a problem out there, and Chuck was happy to take him. And Isaiah's moved over to the weak side now where he belongs. Last year he played strong side linebacker, was a bit lost in the 3-4, but he's found a home now back on the weak side, and that proved it right there.
The ball back to the 22. It'll be 2nd down and 16. Exactly 11 minutes to play in the first half. We have no score. We've seen 5 turnovers, 3 by Buffalo, 2 by Miami. Greasy tries the middle and comes up with a completion, although not for much. That was Bruce Hardy, the tight end, with his second catch. The first time he caught one, he wound up fumbling. San Francisco and New Orleans scoreless in the second quarter, which is a surprise. Neither one of those teams plays great defense. Both have outstanding offenses. DeBerg at quarterback for San Francisco in Bill Walsh's pass-oriented attack, and Archie Manning, of course, for New Orleans. Green Bay comes back with a field goal and ties the Bears at 3. Chester Markhold from 46 yards out.
That may be as close as Green Bay gets to anybody all year.
Now be nice.
Okay. Bart Starr's a good buddy.
3rd and 9 from the 29. Greasy uncorking one deep. There's a collision. No flag. Incomplete.
Jeriel Harris with a nice acting job trying to pick up a flag, but
there is a flag, however, behind the line of scrimmage. No pass interference call, as Jeriel Harris was tripped up with the ball in the air, but there is a penalty back near the line of scrimmage.
Oh, I saw Mike Kadish, the nose tackle, jump. He's replaced Smerlis at that nose tackle job, number 71, and I think he tried to get that edge again. Now we couldn't see it quite on the replay, but Greasy knows he saw the flag, and he knew that he could bomb away at it. See, they just tripped over each other, and both have a right to the path to the ball, so there's no flag there. Good call. Our replays at NBC kind of prove that those guys in the striped shirts are right 98% of the time. I never used to think that, though. It was always pass interference when I was playing.
That's Jeriel Harris, number 82. And the stats on Greasy. It's 3rd and 4 from the 34, with 10:11 to play in the first half. Jimmy Cephalo is also in at a wide receiver spot. Greasy steps up into the pocket, and his pass is dropped. Tony Nathan out of the backfield. It would have been a difficult catch, but certainly not impossible. He probably should have had it, and the Dolphins will have to punt.
Give a lot of credit, though, to Williams and Kadish. They put a lot of pressure on Greasy, and he had to get rid of it before he wanted to, and that made it a tough catch for Nathan. He was wide open, though. Again, I told you, they're going to throw the back to bunch.
George Roberts is in to punt. And the deep men are Lou Picone and Joe Cribbs. Picone is closest to you. Picone with the fair catch at the 30-yard line. So Buffalo will have possession. We have exactly 10 minutes to play in the second quarter, and no score at Rich Stadium in Buffalo.
Yankee ingenuity is still alive and well. You'll see it October 2nd on K-Day when Chrysler's K-Cars show up to take on the imports.
And they bask in the sunshine at Rich Stadium, something which will not be the case come November and December.
Oh, I've seen it snow here in September, Bob. It can get awfully cold. It's right on the snow belt. I never figured out why they built the stadium here. But it's a gorgeous day today, as you pointed out.
And a sellout crowd. From just across the 30, rookie Joe Cribbs carries for about 4 yards on first down. Both teams have been threatening all day, but turnovers have shut the door on them. 3 for Buffalo, 2 for Miami.
5 fumbles? Holy cow.
Actually, 4 fumbles and an interception.
Right. And that was a fumble in the air. They tipped it around for 20 minutes. Looks like both clubs are waiting for the roof to fall in on each other, and it keeps happening to both sides.
Cribbs and Brown are the running backs. Lewis is wide left. Butler is off to the right. 2nd and 6 from the 35. Joe Cribbs. Cribbs with a first down. Out to the 45-yard line. Tim Foley stopped him from his strong safety spot. Tim Foley and Vern Den-Herder, the only defensive links remaining to the no-name defense of the Super Bowl years, 1972 and 3.
Joe Cribbs, that time, that wasn't really an outside run. They'd blocked both linebackers, outside and inside, and it gave Cribbs the big hole to get through, and as you mentioned, it had to be the offside defensive end to make the tackle and a safety.
And another Buffalo first down. They're piling up plenty of yardage, but so far no points. Ferguson, deep drop, plenty of time, swings it out to Curtis Brown. Brown dancing across the 45, but gains maybe a yard on the play, and that's all.
They're not listening to me about those short first down passes. They just don't work. Now watch, somebody will break a screen on first down for 90 yards and 6.
Doug Betters was in on that tackle along with Tim Foley. When A.J. Dewey was injured last year, Betters moved in, took his starting job away. Now they have moved Dewey, who as a defensive lineman was the AFC's Defensive Rookie of the Year in 1977. They've moved Dewey to outside linebacker.
He couldn't gain any weight. He couldn't get any higher than 235, and you can't give it away to a 270-pound offensive tackle. So he's a linebacker.
Second and long. Ferguson with time. Airs one out left side. Deflected away from Frank Lewis. Gerald Small came over and got a hand on it. Tim Foley was also there.
Not a good choice of pass. He had the double coverage on Lewis, and I think Joe was trying to throw it away. He's in a hurry. He slips a little bit, and that throws his timing off. But you watch, he's throwing it right into the double coverage. They got a guy in back, guy in front. No chance for Frank Lewis. That's when receivers turn into defensive backs. You want to knock it away then.
So it's 3rd and 8 with 7:51 remaining, and they go into the shotgun.
Of course.
Picone is in as a third wide receiver. Ferguson fires one out. It's incomplete. Intended for Picone. Glenn Blackwood, the free safety, was there with him along with Ed Taylor. And the fans are screaming that Picone was tripped up, but no pass interference call, and Buffalo is going to have to punt for the first time, and we see the rookie in to punt, Greg Cater.
They've had a succession of kickers here in Buffalo. I think 7 in about the last 5 years.
The last couple of seasons, it was Rusty Jackson.
Right.
He has departed in favor of Cater. The rookie from Tennessee, Chattanooga, who fumbles the snap but gets the kick away. It's a high boot from the 10th round draft choice, and a fair catch is made by Tony Nathan just across the 20-yard line. So now it'll be Miami's turn to try and break the scoreless tie. With 7 minutes and 39 seconds to play in the second quarter, we have no score. On 22-yard line, it's 1st and 10 for the Dolphins following the Cater punt. Punt carried 31 yards, but no return. So a reasonable debut for Cater there. Delvin Williams. Brought down by Ben Williams.
Ben Williams having a heck of a day so far. Caused a fumble, running all over the field. That great pursuit of that 3-4 defense makes it tough to run. You got to block those linebackers.
Do you think the 3-4 is just a superior defensive alignment, period, or does it depend upon your personnel?
Definitely on the personnel. It's speed that makes the 3-4 work. We've got to have those great linebackers with the 4-6 speed.
They give Delvin Williams a gain of 1. Greasy drops the throw on 2nd down and 9. His line gives him time. He throws it over the middle, and a diving interception by Jeff Nixon. Nixon will bring it back into Miami territory to about the 33-yard line. That is the game's 6th turnover. Each team has 3. Each team with 2 fumbles and an interception.
No wonder the score's nothing and nothing, Bob. Another look at Bob Greasy, and he's got Duriel Harris open over the middle, but you can see it slip off of his hand, and I'll tell you what, free safeties love it. I mean, they just sit back there, play center field, wait for the overthrow. Nixon was right there, dove to the ground, a great catch, and had the presence of mind to get up and move them in. If Buffalo doesn't score this time, we could be 0-0 for the next 6 weeks, but
In which case, we'll both miss our plans.
really.
With 6:49 to play in the half. From the 32 of Miami. Joe Cribbs fumbled, but I believe he recovered it himself. It's a refreshing change.
I mean, you could probably call for a turnover every 3rd play, and we'd probably be right. 6 turnovers in the game already. I haven't even completed 2 quarters. Cribbs, you got to watch the ball, son. He's a rookie. He'll learn. But he did the second best thing. He recovered his own fumble. That's the running back's fault. He's got to take it from the quarterback. Most running backs will tell you that's not true.
They lost a yard on the play. It's 2nd down and 11. Ferguson. The catch made by Butler. Jerry Butler, who last year as a rookie rookie, who was the AFC's Rookie of the Year with 48 catches, despite missing 3 games with a shoulder injury, had 4 touchdown receptions, all of them in one game against the New York Jets.
What a day he had then. Holy cow. Thank you, Dick Enberg, for the holy cow. I'll pay you your residuals later.
Don Shula along the Miami sideline. Had only one losing season in 17 campaigns as a head coach dating back to 1963 when he became the head man with Baltimore at age 33. Then the youngest head coach in the NFL. Ferguson swings one out to Cribbs, and Cribbs runs into Rusty Chambers. Don't forget Tuesday night on NBC Sports. It's Major League Baseball as pennant fever heats up with the LA Dodgers led by Steve Garvey taking on Joe Morgan and the Houston Astros. Or it'll be the world champion Pittsburgh Pirates and the Philadelphia Phillies. Prime time, Tuesday night here on NBC Sports. That's 8 Eastern time. Check your local listings for the game and the time, depending on your time zone in your area.
Oh, and NBC's got the World Series this year. It's going to be great one no matter who gets there, Buff.
They got a yard to go on 4th down, and they elect to send Nick Mickemeyer in. He was 20 of 29 on field goal attempts a year ago. This is a 40-yard shot. Dan Manucci holding at the 30-yard line. The kick is away. The kick is good. And the Bills are on the board first. Nick Mickemeyer, the 8-year veteran from Temple, who last year replaced Tom Dempsey early in the season and had his best year since his rookie campaign with Atlanta. And he puts the Bills on the scoreboard and in front 3-0 with 4 minutes and 30 seconds to play in the second quarter.
And I like the choice. It could be some criticism about not going for 4th and 1, but in a game like this, get on the board first. That really gives you an advantage. And I'm sure Chuck Knox is happy to be ahead 3-zip.
Don Shula, in 13 of his 17 seasons as a head coach, his teams have won 10 or more games. He has the highest winning percentage of any active coach. Counting playoff competition, it's .733. He is 4th on the all-time winning list behind George Halas, Curly Lambeau, and Tom Landry. Now Mickemeyer will kick it off following his 40-yard field goal. Moving up to take it is Tony Nathan. Nathan finding a little room. Good run back out to the 34-yard line. Decent field position for the Dolphins.
Anytime you get a kickoff return outside your own 30-yard line, you have been successful. And 34-yard line, that ain't bad. Nathan can do it.
Burned the Bills last year on a punt return, 86 yards.
He's been doing it for a long time. Bear Bryant picked him just for that reason, and he's carried it over into the pros.
Some questions the past couple of years about the strength of Bob Greasy's arm. Off what you've seen today, are those questions answered for you?
No. He still can't throw the bomb like he used to. He's a 35-year-old now, Bob.
Delvin Williams and Steve Howell are the running backs. They pitch it back to Williams. Howell blocking in front of him. Gave him a good block. Williams gets about 4 yards to the 38. Williams is likely to see a whole lot more work in 1980 than he did in 79. The emphasis shifted to Larry Zonka last year. Zonka gone in a contract dispute. Young Steve Howell taking his place. Williams again the #1 man in the Dolphin backfield.
There's an example again of the 3-4, the 2 inside linebackers, Shane Nelson and Haslett. And it's very, very tough to run when you don't block those inside linebackers. They're going to be in your face all day.
2nd and 6. From the 38 with 3:40 to play in the first half. Greasy will put it in the air. His line giving him plenty of time. His man is wide open, Nat Moore. There's a first down in Buffalo territory. Shoved out around the 44. Mario Clark on the coverage.
And again, as you pointed out, Bob, give credit to that Miami line. If you give Bob Greasy 5.5 seconds to throw the ball, he's going to complete it. There's Greasy again. Standing all alone, not a soul around him. And I think Nat Moore can get open, don't you? He's been getting open for 7 years and wide open. And again, that time, give your receiver to run a couple of moves and to find a hole in the zone. Nat Moore will get open every day of the week.
1st and 10 at the 44-yard line of Buffalo. Fake to Delvin Williams. Deep drop by Greasy. Pressure on, they got him. All the way back to the Miami 48, a loss of 8. Let's pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network.
Bob, there we go again. We get the opposite side. No protection that time. Greasy has to go down. The time before he gets 5 seconds, and it's an easy completion.
Bob Costas along with Mike Hafner. Rich Stadium in Buffalo, New York. Turnover-plagued first half. Each team has given the ball away 3 times. Buffalo has drawn first blood on a 40-yard field goal from Nick Mickemeyer. Second down and 18 yards to go for Bob Greasy and the Dolphins. He finds Williams. Williams finds Isaiah Robertson, bounces off of him, but then Charles Romes runs him out of bounds.
Again, an outstanding pass rush, Bob. Mike Kadish in there again, Williams, and Greasy had to dump it quickly because the pressure was coming, and he gets nothing out of the pass completion because he had to dump it so quickly.
They get back to the 48-yard line of Buffalo. It'll be third down. Scoreboard says 15, and we'll go with that. 2 minutes and 51 seconds to play in the first half. Jimmy Cephalo is in at wide receiver. Bruce Hardy, the tight end, is out. They go with 3 wide receivers, Moore, Cephalo, and Harris.
Here's where Greasy used to run the draw play to Zonka, and he'd get 20 yards, but Zonka isn't here anymore.
So Greasy will put it in the air. Pressure on him again. They got him. Fred Smerlis reached out with one hand and yanked him down.
Fred Smerlis lifts weights. He's one of the strongest defensive linemen, not only with the Bills, but in the National Football League. And you saw that strength. All he had was a handful of jerseys and ripped Greasy down like it was a rag doll.
So George Roberts will make his third appearance of the day, and he'll punt it away for Miami. Buffalo will still have 2.5 minutes with which to do something. Joe Cribbs is in single safety, standing around his own 20-yard line.
Too bad they have outlawed the tearaway jersey. Greasy might have got away from a couple of those sacks.
Big rush on. They almost got it. Cribbs calls for the fair catch, juggles it, and holds on.
Oh, the rookie's heart was in his throat when that one popped up.
Lou Picone was right in George Roberts' face as he got the kick away. I don't know how Picone avoided running into it.
Excellent job. Let's take a look at it. Picone, the Superman on special teams, and he takes the perfect angle so he doesn't... Oh, right over the top of his head. Picone, you're lucky. Could have been a flag on that one.
Lou Picone, a very popular player, was so with the Jets, is here in Buffalo. Wide receiver who caught 39 passes last year, plays the special teams, returns kicks. From West Liberty State.
And they say 5'9", and if he's 5'7 and a half, it might be lucky.
2 minutes and 11 seconds to play in the half. Joe Cribbs, they're going to find out what he can do early.
Not outside.
Dolphins are roughing him up pretty good.
Welcome to the NFL, rookie.
Verndon Herter gets credit for the tackle, and the clock stops with the 2-minute warning. The Bills got a couple of minutes here, Mike, to try and add to a 3-0 advantage.
And I'll tell you, the shotgun's been very, very successful, although they've got the regular running backs in there now. And although when Ron Jesse comes in, you'll know that the shotgun is ready, and I see him standing on the sideline. So maybe if they don't make it this time, they'll go back to it. But here's the perfect time to run the 2-minute offense. They've got 2 minutes to go, a 3-point lead. You don't want to throw the interception, but you want to put some points on the board because 10-0 could win this one.
For years, I've heard Joe Ferguson referred to as the most underrated quarterback in the NFL. Is that an accurate description?
Yes, it is. And it's unfortunate that they've had no defense here in Buffalo. I mean, Buffalo loses game 37-35, 24-23. Joe does his job, and they can't stop the other team.
They go to the shotgun on 2nd and 11. Ferguson looks right and then left, and he finds his man, Jerry Butler, at the 36. Check it, it's Joe Cribbs, the running back. Cribbs came out of the backfield and made the reception. Larry Gordon tackled him from his right side linebacker spot.
There's a look at the shotgun, and then they're in the hurry-up offense. But again, you've got 5 receivers downfield, and all Joe has to do is find the hole in the zone, and he did with Cribbs, and the youngster can do it all.
First down from the 36. Cribbs again on a swing pass. Cribbs across the 40, across the 45, out near midfield. Joe Cribbs finally stopped at the 49. Glenn Blackwood made the tackle.
Boy, and there's the perfect call. Second and short. Now you run the swing pass, not on first down.
Buffalo just used a timeout. They have 1 remaining. Miami has all 3 of theirs, which is irrelevant at this point.
Remember, Joe Ferguson had to use that timeout when they got mixed up on that one play. Boy, and you'd like to have those back. You don't want to make those mistakes. Now he's down to 1, and they may need 1 more because they're right at the 50-yard line. They've got 1 minute and 22 left. Chuck Knox sending Joe Ferguson out there with some instructions. Last year, Ferguson threw for 14 touchdowns, had 15 intercepted. His best year, perhaps 1975, 25 scoring passes. And again, in defense of Joe Ferguson for those 15 interceptions, he was always playing catch-up. He was trying to bring his team back from 2 touchdowns down, 10 points down, and when you try to force it in the NFL, you're going to get them picked off. A sign hanging from the seats behind one of the end zones says, "Please," an obvious reference to the 20-game Buffalo losing streak against Miami. They haven't beaten the Dolphins since November of 1969, and this nonsense has to stop sometime. They got a shot today. This is a whole different Buffalo Bill team than I've seen in the past 4 or 5 years. Again out of the shotgun. Ferguson with his man wide open. It's Joe Cribbs again, the rookie from Auburn, and he gets out of bounds. So he showed good presence of mind and picked up big yardage. You like those moves from a 21-year-old rookie? He just faked that Miami Dolphin right out of his shoes, picked up a first down, and got out of bounds to stop the clock. Didn't have to waste the timeout. Smart kid. With 1:14 left, he's got Terry Miller bolted to the bench right now. Miller, number 1 pick a few years ago from Oklahoma State. He was a Heisman candidate in college, gained over 1,000 yards as a rookie, slipped last year. Now he's talking about wanting to be traded. Yes, called me in the summer. I watched him grow up in Colorado Springs. Said, "Mike, how can I get to the Denver Broncos?" Which is out in my area. I said, "Well, if the Broncos had a cornerback to trade to Buffalo, you might be out there, but not very soon." From the Miami 41 on 1st and 10. Out to Cribbs again, out of bounds again. Stopping the clock with 1:08. That took all of 6 seconds. Kim Bocamper gets credit for the tackle. Right down number 20 in white, Miami fans. You're going to hear a lot about this youngster. Let me throw a name at you. See if Cribbs reminds you of this guy. Terry Metcalf. Oh, right on the button. Lots of moves. Great pass receiver. Can run outside and inside. Great balance. That's a good comparison, Bob. Very good. They got 9 on the play. It's 2nd down and 1 from the 32. They're within Mickelmeyer's field goal range right now. Roosevelt leaks. The big back has come in the short yardage situation. They give it to Roosevelt. He's hit immediately, trying to drag the tackler Larry Gordon with him. The clock's stopping. No, still moving. Inside a minute to go. And they're in the hurry-up offense. No, he's going back to huddle. I thought for a moment they'd stop the clock to call for a measurement, but they say clearly no gain. So it's 3rd and 1 with the clock moving. Buffalo has 1 timeout left. And they won't waste it, Bob. Now they're in field goal range, and they're going to save it for the opportunity for a field goal. Butler right, Lewis left, leaks again, got the first down, finds running room, Roosevelt leaks. Now we're inside 30 seconds. 28, 27, 26, he won't call timeout either, Bob. They're going to hurry up. Down to the 17-yard line. Throw it out of bounds, Joe. That's the way. That's what he does to stop the clock with 13 seconds left. So they still have the timeout. They have the ball at the 17, and they have 13 ticks of the clock to work with. Now Joe Ferguson has got a chance to throw 2 passes that he can possibly get touchdowns on. If it happened to be complete inside the 2, he's still got his 1 timeout left so they can line up for the field goal. I just think he looked over to the bench for some encouragement. Uh-oh, flag on the field, huh? I think they may have, in their haste to set up quickly, they may have set up illegally. Somebody may have jumped offside.
Illegal formation.
Good call,
The
Bob.
end was not up on the line of scrimmage on the right side.
Bob, you got sharp eyes. My compliments.
Gordon McCarter, the referee, announcing the call, but the Bills are still in good shape. This is a chip shot still for Mickemeyer.
Don't tell him that, though. He might hook one over into the sidelines. There are the penalties. Buffalo 4 for 20, and again, that excellent Miami team, only one penalty. That's pass interference.
Okay, it's first down now, 15 yards to go from the 22, 13 seconds left. There you see the time on the top of your screen. Ferguson falls down. They got to use the timeout right now.
There's a rookie center. Will Grant got his foot caught up in his center's stance. Fell right on his duff. Boy, he embarrassed after that.
Well, on a quarterback sack, there's an automatic timeout in the last 2 minutes of any half, but that's only a timeout for enough time to set up. Then they'll start the clock again. So there's 9 seconds left. Buffalo still has their timeout remaining.
But they got called for too much time. It didn't make any difference whether Joe fell down or not. He let the 30-second clock run out. It's going to cost him 5 more yards. But again, they're still in field goal range. Take a look at Joe. See, catch on his center's foot there? I'll tell you what, Will Grant, the first-year starter, first-game starter in the NFL, has got to learn not to back up. It's very important to take one step forward so you don't step on your own quarterback, and there it cost him. He'll learn, though.
So now the ball is at the 27, and if they gain no more yardage, we're talking about a 44-yard field goal, which might be a different story. They'd like to complete a sideline pattern. They still have the timeout left, so they could go over the middle and call the quick timeout, but they'd like some more yardage before bringing Mickemeyer on.
Miami will protect the sideline, so he's got to go over the middle here. If he throws it outside, he could get it picked off.
Down the left sideline, intercepted. Gerald Small intercepts. The half will end on this play, and so will a Buffalo threat.
I told him not to go to the sideline.
A disgusted Joe Ferguson shows his emotion. That was the 4th Buffalo turnover of the half, the 7th turnover by both teams combined. And despite the fact that they take a 3-0 lead into the locker room, the Bills here booze at Rich Stadium. That's the end of the first half with the score. Buffalo 3 and Miami 0.
Odds are you sell your house faster if you tell more people about it. That's what this machine does. Like any agent, I find buyers locally, but I can also send a picture and description of your house to buyers in any one of our 4,000 offices. It's like a national multi-list, and only ERA has this system. Think about the odds and then call us. We can find more buyers. That's another reason your ERA real estate specialist is the person you need to know in real estate.
This Bud's for all the people who make the sidelines a part of the show.
This Bud's for you. For all you do, the king of beers is coming through.
Yeah, just for you, that distinctively clean, crisp taste that says Budweiser.
For all you do.
This Bud's for you.
Down there is Miami Beach, a vacation mecca for millions.
I'm Ed Newman of the Miami Dolphins, and I want to show you a part of Miami Beach people seldom see. This is it, South Miami Beach. It's not much to look at, but it's home to Fanny Pressman. She's 82 years old now. She lives here all alone. Over 18 million people live on a small fixed income, and it's not easy, I can tell you. She still gets a big kick out of life, though, thanks to some nice people from the Jewish Senior Center. This is an agency supported by United Way and run by United Way volunteers. Every morning they pick her up and take her to her friends. She plays cards, gossips, sings, has a grand old time. My grandmother used to say that if you give love, it'll come back to you. And that's a philosophy I agree with.
Well, that's the kind of philosophy I live with, son.
United Way works here in Miami. Thanks to you, it works for all of us. United Way.
Back at Rich Stadium in Buffalo, we're at the half on the strength of a Nick Mickemeyer field goal from 40 yards out late in the second quarter. The Buffalo Bills lead their old nemesis, the Miami Dolphins, by a score of 3-0. Bob Costas along with Mike Hafner. in a way, Buffalo, I guess, has to be happy. They've had so much difficulty handling this Miami club that a lead of any kind has to be a pleasant surprise. On the other hand, it could be much more.
Oh, it could be much, much more for Buffalo, but I think the encouraging thing is, Bob, that there hasn't been any defense in Buffalo for the last 6 or 7 years since O.J. was here, and to hold the Miami Dolphin club to no points in the first half has got to be very encouraging.
We're going to break away here for just a moment and be back and give you a rundown on some scores of other games. NFL 80 halftime activities will continue in a moment. We'll be right back after these messages from your local station.
On Disney, Daring Do with Mickey Mouse and his pals, Mickey's Greatest Adventures. Then on Chips, can Ponch and John learn the real cause of Bonnie's accident? Then it's television's Night on the Town, when all your favorite primetime stars shine their brightest. Don't miss the 1980 Emmy Awards right after Disney and Chips Sunday.
Hey, Anderson, I hear you're contacting your smaller customers once a week.
That's right.
That doesn't sound very profitable. I mean, your entire sales force spending all that time on so little business?
Not our entire sales force, just one guy.
One guy?
Sure, young Baker here.
Oh, yeah, those little accounts add up to big money when you handle them by long distance.
Looks like you could use a little long distance yourself.
Long distance. It's the way to get things done today.
This is week number 1 of the NFL season. We'll try to get you all caught up. The big game of the day happening at Three Rivers Stadium, a matchup between the Houston Oilers and the Pittsburgh Steelers. And that noise you may have heard up in Buffalo may well be the Houston bubble bursting. It has not been the kind of day Kenny Stabler expected, not been the kind of day the Houston Oilers expected. Pittsburgh out in front 17-0, and Steeler fans could be excused if they're already making their reservations for New Orleans in January. The Steelers have been that impressive. Terry Bradshaw has definitely gotten his act together in Pittsburgh at the head of an attack that has been simply awesome today. Early on, he hit Sidney Thornton, first score of the game. Pittsburgh was the first team to score this year, the last team to score last season. Thornton having himself a good afternoon. This run set up a second touchdown by Franco Harris. That one made it 14-0. Franco, by the end of the day, will be the third leading rusher all-time in NFL history, trailing just Jim Brown and O.J. Simpson. When he can't get it on the ground, Terry Bradshaw goes up top. John Stallworth has been John Stallworth all day. That one just there with Lynn Swan set up another field goal to make it 17-0. On the other hand, Kenny Stabler has had his problems. 5 for 19 for just 22 yards, 4 interceptions with still some time left in the half. It has not been a good day for the Snake or the Houston Oilers. Again, 17-0, time running out in the second quarter. In New England, Cleveland Browns have yet to get on the board. The Patriots rolling it up there, 13-0, a pair of John Smith field goals of 35 and 37 yards, and a Steve Grogan 10-yard touchdown strike to Harold Jackson. That was for Jackson, his 500th career reception. Ball game you're watching, Buffalo against Miami. Of course, is Buffalo out in front 3-0. Nick Mickemeyer doing all the damage with a 40-yard field goal. Buffalo hoping to stop a 20-game losing streak at the expense of the Dolphins. Cincinnati and Tampa Bay. This one going on in Cincinnati. The Buccaneers trying to prove that they're for real. Cincinnati trying to prove that last season was a fluke. The game right now is tied at 3-3 in the second period. Pair of field goals, Garo Yepremian and Ian Sutter. The Giants and St. Louis, two teams who figure to be among the also-rans in the NFC East, are going at it. This is in the second quarter. Ball game right now tied at 14-all. A 10-yard touchdown by Wayne Morris has tied that ball game. Pittsburgh, as we noted, out in front of Houston, 17-0 in the second quarter. Let us go to Three Rivers Live and join Dick Enberg and Merlin Olsen.
This day has been nullified by a penalty, and every possible bounce of the ball has gone against them. I guess maybe Bum Phillips would tell you they're testing us. They're seeing if we can handle all this adversity.
Yeah, in a way, you look at this first half, Merlin, and 17-0 seems rather light in regard to the dominance of the Steelers. They could be ahead by almost twice that much.
Well, I think the statistics will show that it has not been any kind of a ball game statistically, and of course the score,
offense, still third down.
The score, by virtue of penetration field position, could well have been worse than it is.
Leon Gray ticketed with a hold, 3 times an All-Pro and All-Pro last year. See that juggle by Blunt. He's got the interception. Whoops, bobbled it right to Carpenter, but it doesn't count. Pump and then over the middle to Carpenter. He almost threw it in the arms of 51 Lawrence Hayes. Well, that's an appropriate appropriate way for the final scrimmage play for the Oilers. They've been doing it the entire half. You know they're going to hang on to more the second half. And if Stabler can get out of this first 30 minutes down by only 17, who knows? But it has been all Pittsburgh.
Dick Enberg said it properly. It has been all Pittsburgh. Bad day for the Snake in Houston. Minnesota out in front of Atlanta in the second period. That one standing at 14-6. Kramer has thrown a touchdown pass to Sammy White. New Orleans against San Francisco, who figure to be among at least San Francisco figures to be among the also-rans of the NFC West. Tied at 7-7. Tony Galbraith, a 1-yard run for a touchdown. Rookie Earl Cooper, a 2-yard run for San Francisco. And Green Bay out in front of Chicago in the second period, 6-3. Still to come later today right here on NBC. Don't forget it's a doubleheader week. Colts will be going against the Jets. The Broncos taking on the Eagles in Philadelphia. Raiders and Chiefs renew acquaintances. And out on the coast, it'll be the Chargers and the Seahawks. You're all caught up. Let's go back to Rich Stadium. Bob Costas and Mike Hafner.
This 1980 National Football League game is brought to you by the new K-Cars, Dodge Aries K and Plymouth Reliant K, coming October 2nd from the new Chrysler Corporation. By the Schlitz Malt Liquor Bull, more taste than beer, more quality ingredients than premium beer. Don't say beer, say Bull. By America's full-service bankers, ready to serve you where you see this symbol. And by Ryder Truck Rental, the best truck money can rent. We're back at Rich Stadium in Buffalo, New York. We're at the half. The Bills are in front of the Miami Dolphins, 3-0. Bob Costas along with Mike Hafner. And one of the big stories this week concerning the Miami Dolphins, the signing of Coach Don Shula to a new 3-year extension of his contract as general manager and coach of this very successful franchise. Before the game today in Buffalo, Mike Hafner had an opportunity to visit with Shula and talk with him about this year's installment of the Miami Dolphins. Here's Mike's interview with Don. Apologize. Apparently we lost the audio on the interview with Don Shula. So right now we'll be back in Buffalo in just a moment. National Football League action will continue with the second half kickoff at Buffalo with the score, the Bills 3 and Miami nothing.
Any last requests? I'll have a beer.
Costas along with Mike Hafner. We apologize that the sound wasn't available on the interview which Mike did before the game with Don Shula. Mike, what was the content of that interview? What did he have to say?
Pretty much that this is a very young football team. Obviously, his fullback-oriented offense is gone with the likes of Larry Zonka moving down the road. But he said he doesn't like the word rebuilding. He likes to rebuild and win, as you pointed out, the first half. And that he felt that with 3 great years of drafts in the past 3, that this club wouldn't be very far away from, again, contending for the AFC East title. And I tend to agree with him. I think it's up for grabs. And he's very confident that his young people and his defense will carry him a long, long way. They've done it before. And he was also very happy to see Bob Greasy come back and wrest the quarterback job away from the others who were pushing him.
You know, Don Strock, who will be 30 in November, has been a class guy about this entire situation. He has stepped in, performed very capably as a relief man for Greasy whenever the occasion arose. This is a cliche, but you know it applies in his situation. He is indeed good enough to start for any number of other clubs, and yet as his career goes on and he goes past the 30 mark, he remains a second stringer. He's got to be getting impatient.
Oh, there's no doubt about that. Although, on the other hand, if I had to pick a job in the National Football League, it'd be backup quarterback, because you can make a lot of money and get no pressure, and the fans scream for you all the time when the starter doesn't do well. Usually you come in a situation where it's a no-win situation. You're down a bunch or way ahead. And so you may be right. I can see down the road where Don Strock might start to say, play me or trade me.
Let's take a look at the stats for the first half. Buffalo with twice as many first downs, 4 times as much yards rushing, about twice as many yards passing. more than twice as many total yards. 11 of 16 for Ferguson, 8 of 11 for Greasy. The turnovers, the big stat for both teams, 4 for Buffalo and 3 for the Dolphins.
Easily could have been 24-21 at the half instead of 3-0. But those turnovers for both clubs, they were in drives that should have gotten them points somewhere. And they're going to have to stop the turnovers in the second half. One or the other club expects to win.
And the troubles, which began toward the end of last season for Buffalo, continue. They were 7-6 last year after 13 games, and still in the playoff chase, at least for a wild card spot. They wound up losing their last 3 games in succession at the close of the regular season, scored only 1 touchdown in those 3 games. They have not scored a touchdown despite threatening several times in the first half here today.
They're going to have to get that offense cranked up, but again, as I mentioned in the halftime show, that their defense has now surprised. After 5 years, they've got a club that can shut somebody out for a half, and that's going to be very, very important. I have a lot of faith in Joe Ferguson in this offense, especially with the addition of Cribbs and Ron Jesse and people like that that can make this offense go. They'll work out those problems with the fumbles and the interceptions, and this will be a club to contend with. They can push the Jets or Miami or New England or anybody for this division title.
Getting back to Miami for just a moment, as you look at Chuck Knox along the sideline, the head coach of the Buffalo Bills. With Zonka gone, I guess they wish that they had drafted a running back this year. They had 13 draft choices, did not select a running back with any of them. The first time in the history of the Dolphin franchise that they have not selected a running back, at least one of them in the draft. Uwe von Schamann booms one into the end zone, and Joe Cribbs decides to stay right there. They'll bring it out to the 20 on the touchback to begin the second half.
Interesting, Don Besselou has been kicking off a bit for Miami. Did it in the preseason, and I thought maybe Von Schamann wasn't going to have that job, but there he was, booming it in the end zone. When you do that, the special teamers love you. They don't have to make the tackle. They don't have to bust the wedge. I played too many special teams not to know about kicking it off out of the end zone.
So we'll have the first play from scrimmage in the second half. Buffalo leads it 3-0. Mickemeyer from 40 yards. That was all the scoring in the first half. Lewis is wide to the left. Jerry Butler is wide to the right. Cribbs and Curtis Brown are the running backs. Ferguson hands to Curtis Brown, and the Dolphins hold a team meeting on his body. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Bob Baumhauer in the middle. Oh, goodness. A.J. Dewey. What a great defense. And Bill Arnsparger again. He and Joe Collier out in Denver, who really started the 3-4. Both of them, I guess, get credit. Two of the finest defensive coordinators, and despite the talent, they're going to stop you every day of the week.
A.J. Dewey was in on that tackle. Interesting story regarding his switch from the defensive line to outside linebacker. Chuck Otterson, a sports writer with the Palm Beach Post, suggested that move to Don Shula, and Shula said, hey, I'll try anything. It's worth a try. And Otterson's move has worked out. Here's Joe Cribbs trying to come wide. Gains only a couple. It'll be 3rd and long, and we might see the shotgun again from Joe Ferguson and the Bills. Bob Baumhauer stopped him.
First time a sports writer's ever made a suggestion that worked. They're usually on the coach or on a player or whatever.
We've got 13 minutes and 54 seconds to play third quarter. It's 3rd down and 7. In just a moment, we'll be going to NFL 80 in New York and get an update on what's going on elsewhere. Down and 7. Bob Costas with Mike Hafner in Buffalo, and Joe Ferguson trying to hit his rookie running back, Joe Cribbs, out of the backfield, incomplete, and Buffalo is going to have to kick. We welcome those of you who have been watching NFL 80, updating the situation here in Buffalo. It is 3-0 with 13 minutes and 26 seconds to play third quarter. Buffalo in front of Miami on a Nick Mickemeyer field goal of 40 yards late in the second quarter.
And I'll tell you, Buffalo again stalled, and now Miami has got to take the force on offense.
Tony Nathan is the deep man, awaiting the kick by Greg Cater. And that kick, partially blocked, scooped up by one of Buffalo's up men, Shane Nelson. It's going to be Miami ball in Buffalo territory. There are flags down all over the place.
Well, that was mass confusion, Bob. Cater that time got a good snap, but he fumbled it around and couldn't get set to take his 2 steps. Let's take a look at him right here. Oh, he got a short hop. Now he's fumbling it around, and that gives Miami a chance. Now he almost drops the thing, and he kicks it off the point, and I think it was a bit, somebody got a hand on it at least. And it turns out to be an awful punt. Miami's going to get the ball.
Referee Gordon McCarter is going to sort this thing out for us.
I guess he's not.
Miami has it just outside the 26-yard line of Buffalo, following the partially blocked kick from Greg Cater. A chance to either tie or go ahead. Steve Howell. And Howell runs over people. Howell, looking like Larry Zonka, is inside the 10.
They needed something like that. That's Don Shula's offense, is that fullback-oriented running play.
If you had made that 39 instead of 36 and you weren't watching closely, you might have thought it was Zonka.
Exactly. Take a look at him here. It's the same way Zonka ran. Straight forward, lowers the shoulder. Got the great center of gravity. Watch him run over people right here. Good spin-out move by Howell. It's not Larry Zonka, but he sure looked like him on that play.
It's first and goal from the 9-yard line. Delvin Williams with a couple. Maybe not even that. Let's give him one on the play. 12 and a half minutes to play, third quarter. 3-0 Buffalo. Chicago and Green Bay tied at 3 apiece at halftime.
That may be our score here in a couple minutes. Again, I've been impressed with this Buffalo defense. And maybe it's taken Greasy a half to get cranked up. I watch for a tricky play-action pass here to get him in the end zone.
From the 8, it's second and goal. Greasy likes that quick slant, especially to Nat Moore, who's on the right side, number 89. Over the middle, broken up at the goal line. It was intended for Duriel Harris, and Charles Romes got in there.
Great play by Romes. He smelled it out. He heard you, Bob. That quick slant pass. Harris had no chance because Romes was right there to knock it away.
Jim Haslett was putting big pressure on Bob Greasy as he tried to set up.
And again, the pressure on Greasy made him throw quickly, and you'll see that he had somebody right in his face, and Romes makes the great play. Stuck his hand in there, kept it away from Harris, had an automatic touchdown if Romes wouldn't have been there.
So it's third and goal. And if they don't come through here, we'll see Uwe von Schamann with his first field goal try. The ball is just outside the 8-yard line. Tony Nathan and Nick Giaquinto are the running backs. Action along the line of scrimmage. Greasy completes the pass. The flag is down as Nathan is spun down at the 6-yard line.
The flag's all over the field, Bob.
Lucius Sanford made the tackle.
Offside again against Buffalo. They've been trying to get that edge all day, and it's cost them every time. What a break on third down. Gives Greasy another shot.
Gordon McCarter will make it official. It's going to be third and goal from inside the 5. McCarter talking it over with Greasy.
Offside, number 57, defense, repeat, third down.
Lucius Sanford tried to get the edge on the blitz from the linebacker spot. There he is. Dangling the arm over that neutral zone.
What do you look for now?
Got to throw the ball from the 4-yard line, Bob. Against the 3-4 goal line defense, there's no way you can run it in.
Harris to the right, Moore to the left. Giaquinto and Nathan are the backs behind Greasy. Long count. Third and goal. Into the end zone. Touchdown, Tony Nathan.
Hello, quick post. There's that back out of the backfield. They saw the blitz coming. They blitzed last time with the linebackers, and Nathan was wide open. Good call by Greasy, and he read it well. Take a look at Bob. He sees, first of all, the linebacker coming, Lucius Sanford, so he knows that Nathan's got nobody covering him, and you can see the result. Not a soul around him, and Nathan just prances in and says, hello, we're in the lead.
So Greasy, with his first touchdown pass of the year, the 187th of his career, he leads all active quarterbacks in that category. Don Strock holds, Uwe von Schamann kicks, and it's good. So Miami scores on their first possession of the second half. And with 11 minutes and 47 seconds to play in the third quarter, it's the Dolphins 7 and the Bills 3.
Radio Shack announces its second major computer breakthrough in 3 years. First, the TRS-80 Model 1 personal computer under $500. Now, the new TRS-80 Model 2 computer, a powerful small business system that smashes the $10,000 barrier. Base priced under $3,500. Both offer disk storage, printers, and software. The new TRS-80 Model 2 business computer, built in Texas and ready for you to buy or lease at Radio Shack, the biggest name in little computers.
Muhammad Ali, the football preview issue of Inside Sports, is a real blockbuster.
And Larry Holmes is going to get hit with a real blockbuster, too.
September Inside Sports digs into college and pro football to give you the real lowdown on the upcoming season.
I'm going to make Holmes a real lowdown, too.
80 pages of football, plus baseball, the Olympics, and a centerfold picture view.
And after I destroy Holmes, on 80 pages just on me.
September Inside Sports, the football preview at your newsstand now.
That fella probably wasn't even born the last time Miami lost to Buffalo.
No doubt about that. 68? You have to be at least 13 years old.
Actually, for the sake of history, it was 1969.
Ah, yes.
Since then, 20 consecutive losses by Buffalo to Miami. Here's Uwe von Schamann trotting over to the sideline before kicking off. The deep men are Joe Cribbs and Curtis Brown.
Oh, they're going to kick him off the field because they didn't have the right equipment. You must have uniform equipment. And so, oh, you can't have tape on the shoe. There's where, see him cut the tape off the shoe? You cannot put, they say that is an edge for a kicker, having tape on the outside of the shoe. Now, it'll be interesting to see if von Schamann can come back in and kick off. Because once you're thrown out for illegal equipment, you can't come back in until the next play. Let's see if the guys in the striped shirts do the right thing. We might see Besselou kick off because he can't come back in the game now, according to the way I read the rules.
Well, von Schamann is acting as if he's going to come right back in, and the difference may be
that there was a dead ball timeout.
Exactly, and he was not in with the illegal equipment for the preceding play.
Very good. Sure you don't want to put on one of those striped shirts, Bob? No, thank you. Yeah, you're right. They just made him take the tape off the shoe because that is illegal according to the NFL rule.
So Uwe von Schamann, who had a very rough debut as the Dolphin place kicker last year right here in Buffalo. His very first field goal attempt was blocked by the Bills' Sherman White, returned 76 yards for a touchdown by Charles Romes. He also muffed a point after touchdown, and of course he was replacing the legendary Garo Yepremian last year as the Dolphin place kicker, and the fans were calling for his head. He got it together, however, came back, wound up hitting his last 10 field goals in a row at the end of the year, 21 of 29 for the season, with long ones of 51 and 53. Joe Cribbs moves up to take his kickoff. Cribbs gets to the 25-yard line, and that's where Buffalo will set up, trailing 7-3. Dwight Stevenson made the tackle.
Joe Cribbs, what a day. He's carried the ball about 12 times, returned all the punts and kickoffs. And as I said, I don't remember a running back that did all those things since Gale Sayers, and that was quite a while ago.
Miami has had 3 turnovers. Buffalo has had 4 turnovers and a botched punt, which led to Miami's only touchdown. Buffalo can look at that a couple of ways. They should be way in front, or they're lucky to be trailing only 7-3.
Very true.
11:39 to play in the third. Ferguson's going to go right to the air. He's got time. He's throwing deep. He wants Frank Lewis. It's incomplete.
Pass intended for Lewis, incomplete.
Now that's the kind of first down pass I like. Get it downfield, put the pressure on the defense. Frank Lewis never had a chance. It was way overthrown. But that'll loosen up that zone and open up the inside pockets, and I wouldn't be surprised to see Ferguson come right back and throw one over the middle short.
Last year, Frank Lewis, one of Ferguson's favorite targets, hit him 54 times. 1978, he caught 41, 7 of them for touchdowns for the Bills. Formerly, of course, with the Pittsburgh Steelers. A 10-year man from Grambling.
Frank Lewis will tell you it's nice to have Jerry Butler on the other side. He gets double coverage all the time. That leaves Frank one-on-one.
cut down on tight end Reuben Gant's receptions, however. Curtis Brown on 2nd down and 10 gets only 1 or 2, and we'll have another 3rd and long yardage situation for Joe Ferguson. Talking about the presence of Lewis and Butler, that's reflected in Gant's statistics. As their tight end in 1977, he caught 41. In 78, he caught 34. Last year, with Butler catching 48 and Lewis catching 54, Gant, 19 receptions.
Very true. When you got those two spectacular guys outside, you got to throw to them. But Joe's going to have to come back to his tight end because that's where the openings are. With the new bump rule, you can get that tight end off and deep to that 15-20-yard zone.
On 3rd and a short 8, they go into the shotgun. We have 10:50 to play 3rd quarter. Ferguson finds his man. Roland Hooks makes the catch. And he's got just enough for the 1st down.
Now you know why Roland Hooks comes in the shotgun. He's an excellent pass receiver out of the backfield. And you're going to get him one-on-one with the linebacker, and that's exactly what happened. This time the linebacker just left him, and you'll see that Hooks is wide open. I remember the year that he replaced O.J. Simpson after a knee injury against New England, when New England was a powerful defensive team. And everyone said, well, there's the end of the chances for Buffalo, and he got about 188 yards.
From the 36, Roosevelt Leaks carries on 1st and 10. And this time, Rosie gets only a couple before Ralph Ortega trips him up. Talking about succeeding people, it was Ortega who followed Tommy Nobis as the middle linebacker at Atlanta.
Tough job. Tough guy to follow. As long as he keeps his knees healthy. Boy, Nobis had more knee operations than I did.
How many did you have?
4. 4 too many.
2nd down, and we'll call it 8. Pitch it back to Joe Cribbs. Cribbs trying to come wide. Couldn't really turn the corner, but he dragged a couple of people with him for 2 yards.
Again, he shows that strength. He's got the great quickness and the power to drag people along. But again, that outside run, very tough against the 3-4 and those speedy outside linebackers.
Cribbs is 5'11", 190. He was their number 2 draft choice this year out of Auburn.
I know 2 teams that would dearly have loved to have him in the draft. The Denver Broncos for one, the New York Jets for another. But Buffalo got to him first, and now you know why.
On 3rd and 6, they go into the gun again. Buffalo trailing Miami 7-3. Buffalo has spent most of the afternoon in or near Miami territory. They have only a field goal to show for it. Ferguson, under pressure, gets his pass away, and the catch is made. They've got the 1st down. Lou Picone hauled it in.
And they're not booing, Bob. They're going, Lou, Lou, Lou. They love little Lou Picone here. Here's Joe again. He gets that quick look at the defense. He sees zone. He knows that Lou Picone is going to be out in that flat where they've cleared it out. They can only go to the strong side on the zone, one side or the other. And Joe gets the quick read and finds Lou Picone wide open.
Ed Taylor got there too late on the coverage. Clock moving with 8:40 to play in the 3rd.
Buffalo's got to be frustrated. They've dominated the Miami defense and only have 3 points.
Butler left and Lewis right on 1st and 10 from the 48. Ferguson with Roosevelt Leaks wide open from his fullback spot, and then punishing people as he barrels inside the 35.
Now there's a surprising reception. One of the raps against Rosie Leaks during his entire career was he couldn't catch the football. It looked good on that one to me, and I'm sure it surprised the Miami defense. They'd automatically give up Rosie as a receiver, and it cost them right there. There's a look at Joe, and that surprised everybody, not only on the field, but on the sidelines and back in Miami. I don't think Rosie's caught too many passes in his career. And then he uses that fullback power. Oh, I'll tell you, defensive backs don't like that.
He doesn't try to run around too many people. Cribbs bouncing off folks, and down around the 24-23. There's a 1st down run by Joe Cribbs. Glenn Blackwood, the free safety, finally stopped him.
You like that power for 5'11", 190? He just ran right over a couple people. What a young rookie this. Oh, what an asset he's going to be to the Bills.
Cribbs goes out, and Terry Miller makes his first appearance of the day.
Miller probably thought, I'll never get in there today the way this kid's playing.
It may be too late. 6 6:20 on the clock. We're in the third quarter. 7-3 Miami. 1st and 10 from the 22 of the Dolphins. And this is Miller with his first action. Miller coming wide, trying to pick some blocks, loses the ball, but he's out of bounds.
I think there was a little adrenaline pumping there, knowing the rookie had beaten him out, wanted to show him something on the sweep. He got a good game. Oh, no, I guess not. He stepped out early. 2-3 yards.
1978 as a rookie, Terry Miller, 1,060 yards, 7 touchdowns. Last year he slips to 484 yards and 1 touchdown. Houston comes back with a Tony Fritsch field goal of 31 yards. 10:55 to play in the third. They trail the Steelers in the day's big game, 17-3.
Stabler must have got him cranked up in the second half. Had a little talk to him.
Still a long way to come back against the steel curtain.
Oh, really?
2nd and 7 from the 19. Fakes the give. Looks for a receiver. Over the middle, it's picked off. Turnover number 5. Intercepted by the rookie, Don McNeil, the number 1 draft choice from Alabama. Joe Ferguson's face tells it all. The second interception of the day for the Dolphins. They've also recovered 3 fumbles, and they have the ball back.
The value of your money is more important than ever these days, so get professional answers to financial questions like these.
So maybe Pop will be leaving the business in a few years to retire. Isn't now the time you should get
This was Buffalo's 5th turnover. A moment ago, I said it was their 2nd interception. They fumbled twice, and they have been 3 interceptions. This was the 3rd.
And this is a silly throw, just a silly throw. He tried to hit his fullback, Roosevelt Leaks, over the middle, and he threw it right back into the zone coverage that was on the strong side. And you saw Joe Ferguson's face when he walked off the field before we went to commercial. He knew he'd made a bad throw, and it cost him. And the young one, Don McNeil, gets his first interception as an NFL player.
Don McNeil, Gerald Small, and linebacker Kim Bocamper have Miami interceptions. They've also recovered 2 fumbles. And here's Steve Howell running well again out to the 35-yard line. The safeties, Freeman and Nixon, combined to stop him. 5 turnovers and a very short, partially blocked punt. That's the story today for the Buffalo Bills.
No doubt about it. You cannot turn the football over to this experienced quarterback. He's going to burn you one at a time. And I'm impressed with Howell in the second half. He finally got over his rookie jitters, or his first game start jitters, and he's looking like a fullback now, and they're starting to use it.
He's the up man on the eye with Williams behind him. Moore and Harris are the wide receivers. They swing it out to Harris, trying to isolate him. He loses the football. It squirts out of bounds, and Harris fell on it himself.
I thought receivers were supposed to have great hands.
That was very nearly Miami's 4th turnover.
Another look at Harris. This is the flanker screen, or the split-end screen. Harris trying to put his dipsy-do on, forgot something. That brown pigskin with a stripe on it. And he wisely pushes it out of bounds, Bob, because he had last possession. No sense trying to scramble for it. Just get it out of bounds, and it's still your ball.
Actually, they got 6 yards on the play. So from just across the 40, it's 2nd down and 4. 5:18 to play in the third. Delvin Williams has the first down. Shane Nelson, one of the inside linebackers. He's led the Bills in tackles 2 of the last 3 years.
In the 3-4 defense, you want to open up inside, channel everything to the inside linebackers. Watch Shane Nelson. The hole opens up beautifully. Shane Nelson steps in, makes the perfect form tackle, and puts Delvin Williams right on his back.
Shane Nelson, in his 4th year out of Baylor, bypassed completely in the 1977 draft. Nobody wanted him. Bills gave him a free agent look. He signed on.
Who says the scouts know who to draft, huh?
1st and 10 from the 45 of Miami. Flags fly as there's motion along the line. Delvin Williams is the ball carrier. This means nothing. The field is littered with yellow handkerchiefs.
In that situation, though, you keep going until the whistle blows, and even afterwards, you never know what's going to happen. Cleveland Green getting his first start, forgot to count. And rookies will do that to you every once in a while. You know, it's interesting. You'll see an offensive lineman turn around to the quarterback sometimes and say, what was the count again?
New New England increasing their lead over Cleveland in the third quarter now. The Pats 13 and the Browns 3.
It's a bit surprising. I'd have bet maybe that was 35-34 by halftime. There's another one, Tampa Bay. Back on that road to the Super Bowl again.
10-3 in the third over the Bengals. And the Giants surprisingly lead at St. Louis 17-14.
Ray Perkins is no fool, and Phil Simms is a good one. Minnesota jumped ahead of Atlanta. 49ers are going to be one of the surprise teams in the NFL this year. They lead New Orleans 14-7. They'll push some people.
They can score, but can they stop anybody? So far, the answer, yes, against New Orleans.
They've got 6 rookies on that defense that have really surprised Bill Walsh, the head coach.
First and 15, 4:33 on the clock. Ball at the Miami 40. And Greasy to the air. He's got Delvin Williams. Williams shakes a tackler, lunges forward. And he is into Buffalo territory at about the Bills' 47.
Again, there's that back out of the backfield, one-on-one on linebackers. Delvin Williams can catch the football. I wouldn't be surprised this year if he was more effective as a pass receiver than as a runner.
And New England scores again. They go in front of Cleveland 20-3. They're still in the third quarter.
Never count out Brian Sipe. He can throw 4 touchdown passes on you in 30 seconds. The quarterback for Cleveland.
3 minutes and 50 seconds to play. Second down and 1. They ask Howell to get it, and he does. Franco Harris has just become the third all-time rusher behind O.J. Simpson and Jimmy Brown. He has moved ahead of Jimmy Taylor on the all-time list. So Franco Harris enjoying a good day just as his team is. At last report, they were in front 17-3 in the third quarter over Houston.
If I was going to build a fullback, I'd model him right after Franco Harris. He might be around for another 5 years, too.
The Dolphin fullback, Steve Howell, got them the first down at the Buffalo 42. Play action fake to Delvin Williams. Deep drop by Greasy. Greasy firing wide open and over the head of Matt Moore, but there's a penalty on the play.
Greasy's kicking himself for that. He had Matt Moore wide open, threw it over his head. And then a holding penalty on top. It wouldn't have made any difference.
So this is the second time in the past several plays that Miami has been penalized. They were penalized only once in the first half.
I was waiting for that offensive line to start wondering about itself, and there was the holding penalty to catch it. We'll see who the holding was on. Prime candidates, Mr. Green.
Let's see what Gordon McCarter says.
Holding, number 64, offense, repeat first down.
I had the 4 right.
It was Ed Newman, the right guard.
64 instead of 74.
Newman, a veteran from Duke.
I think they were all holding. They just caught that one.
San Francisco increasing their lead over the Saints to 20-7. Some people think the Saints can challenge in the West against the Rams in the NFC. Might be upset today by the 49ers, a team which won only twice last year. Here's Delvin Williams. Williams getting some of that lost yardage back.
If I'm going to run a sweep, I want to run it behind 67 Bob Kuchenberg, and both he and Newman were out in front that time. Excellent job by those 2 guards. They've really done well with this patchwork line. Again, I wanted to point out earlier, Newman in his 42 starts only started 7 times at right guard.
Houston rallies back. Check this out. Earl Campbell threw a 57-yard option pass touchdown to Billy White Shoes Johnson. They still got 7:58 to play third quarter, and the Oilers are right back in it at 17-10.
Well, you got to fool the Steelers somehow, and they did it on that one. I think that's Earl Campbell's first pass ever.
It's second down and 11 from the 44 of Buffalo. Greasy escapes, dodges another bullet. Still on his feet. Penalty markers down. He managed to get rid of the ball. The fans now scream for intentional grounding. There were penalty flags even before that occurred. Sherman White was all over it.
Pardon the pun, but the name Greasy on that play really fits. He got away from everybody. Speaking of Greasy, watch him. This is a tremendous rush by Buffalo, something they haven't had here, as I said, in the last 4 or 5 years. Schmerlis is in there, Ben Williams. There's Ben. He gets away from him. Now Greasy wants to get rid of it. He says, get me out of this. And the ball is thrown legally, knocked away by Shane Nelson, but the holding penalty is going to nail him.
Holding, number 74, offense, repeat second down.
Yes, they'll repeat second down, but now they'll have 21 yards to go for the first. The ball is pushed back to the 47 of Miami. 2:07 to play third quarter.
This time they caught Cleveland Green 74. I knew he was holding the other play too. Tough on a youngster to get his first start. But he's played well this afternoon. The entire Miami front line has been impressive.
They've got the speedsters in the backfield, Tony Nathan and Nick Giaquinto. Greasy. Almost intercepted. Charlie Rome stepped in front of Bruce Hardy, the tight end, and nearly picked it off.
Again, great pressure on Greasy, and he had to get rid of it too soon. Watch 83 Sherman White. White is the one that forces Greasy to throw before he wants to. He almost batted it down. Now Rome's kicking himself. He said, I could have got another 40 yards with that one if I'd have picked it off.
We pause briefly for station identification. This is the NBC television network. And 3 seconds to play. There's the score, Miami 7 and Buffalo 3. Bob Costas along with Mike Hafner. 3rd and 21 for Bob Greasy and the Dolphins. Greasy rolling out to get some time. There's a flag down on the play. His pass is incomplete. And now we'll have to wait and see what the call is.
He's going to get another chance because Buffalo's defensive line jumped across.
Might have been Sherman White who was a bit over anxious.
83 Sherman White, and I saw him jump, and they caught him for it. That's a shame. And 3rd down and 20. You got to be sitting in there knowing that you don't want to make a mistake. And you don't want to give Greasy another chance because he can burn you.
Number 83, defense, repeat 3rd down.
That's that mental error that the coach hates, Bob. They just don't like to see that happen. And he'll hear about it on Tuesday in the films.
The Cardinals ride the seesaw with the Giants. Otis Anderson ran it in from 24 yards out. 8:13 to play in the 3rd there, and the Cardinals playing at home lead New York 21-17. Minnesota up in the 3rd over Atlanta 21-6. All right, 3rd down and 16 from the Buffalo 48 with 1:56 to play third quarter. Greasy has time, and he has a receiver, but on the first play it's intercepted. Jeff Nixon has his 2nd interception of the day, and that's the 4th Miami turnover. Fred Smerlas put some pressure on Greasy. Greasy's pass caromed off the hands of Jimmy. Yardage figures and the final score in this game are not going to match.
No, it's the turnovers. And Jimmy Cephalo's wide open. They gave Greasy another chance. He lets it slip right through his hands. And Cephalo is going to kick himself around the block for that one. Nixon, with his 3rd turnover, 2 interceptions, recovered a fumble. He's had quite a day.
And the turnover story. And in addition to their 5 giveaways, as we mentioned before, Buffalo had that short punt by Greg Cater after he fumbled the snap, and that led directly to Miami's only score. Ferguson airing one out deep. He wanted Frank Lewis, but Don McNeil, the rookie, was with him step for step. There wasn't an inch of daylight there for Frank Lewis.
Well, I'm impressed with Don McNeil. You usually don't stick a rookie out there on the corner all by himself and have him have as successful a day as he's had. Quite a great young rookie. Now I know why Shula traded away all those veteran corners. He found a good one. And you're not even old enough to remember Don McNeil marching around the breakfast table in the old radio. No, Bob's shaking his head. Youngster, okay. For all you people out there over 60, you'll know what I'm talking about.
I remember the Mickey Mouse Club, but barely.
But barely.
A minute and 40 seconds to play third quarter. 2nd down and 10 from the 43 of Buffalo. Ferguson's stats. The 3 interceptions have foiled him. He's had his team threatening constantly. They have only 3 points to show for it. Under pressure. Gets one away with a man hanging all over him. By Jerry Butler. Butler somehow outfought caught. Don McNeil for the football.
And a penalty flag going to bring it all back, I'm afraid.
Oh, no.
Holding.
Joe Ferguson got to be talking to himself.
Oh, I know it. He's made a couple poor choices that cost him interceptions. Now he has a receiver make him look good. And it all for naught. Oh, that holding penalty will just destroy you.
Ferguson got that pass away with a man just about to sack him.
Tom Howard hanging all over him.
Holding, number 20, offense, repeat, second down.
Oh, the rookie running back.
Gordon McCarter's gotten a lot of airtime here in the third quarter.
Let's take a look and see if we can see Joe Cribbs, number 20. They kept him in for extra protection. Sure, there he is. Got right a hold of him. Can't hold linebackers like that, young rookie. It'll cost you. Head Bocamper.
That pushes them back to the 33 with 1:34 remaining. And they give it to Roosevelt Leaks, who gets to the 35.
Shotgun time.
Clock moving with 1 minute and 20 seconds to play in the quarter. Give Bocamper the credit for the tackle on Roosevelt Leaks. Leaks is 5'10 and 225.
I'd say that's short and wide, isn't it?
Not exactly lean in any event.
No.
Third and 18, and Ferguson indeed sets up in the shotgun.
He's put a lot of pressure on Miami in this formation.
With time to throw. Guns one over the middle, and there's another interception. Glenn Blackwood took it, and they'll bring it right back to where he went down.
4 interceptions. That's enough for the year.
The 6th turnover for Buffalo. The 4th interception against Ferguson. Glenn Blackwood, the second-year man from Texas, coming off a knee injury last year, gets the ball back for Miami.
Got a date, Jack?
At Three River Stadium in Pittsburgh, the third quarter has belonged to the Oilers. They trailed 17-0 at the half. First a Tony Fritsch field goal, then a 57-yard option pass from Earl Campbell to Billy White Shoes Johnson, then Campbell on a 1-yard plunge. With 6 minutes remaining in the third quarter, that game is suddenly tied at 17. Delvin Williams goes nowhere. Sherman White hit him first.
But they didn't block Shane Nelson, the inside linebacker, and if you don't do that, can you believe those Steelers? Houston, that's going to be a battle right down to the end. Just announced it here.
The fans at Rich Stadium react to the Oiler comeback.
The Earl of Campbell has done them in the second half. Can't count that dude out at any time.
The clock is moving. And this will be the last play of the third quarter if they get it off. 4,
they won't.
3, 2, 1. That's it. So the fourth period will begin with Miami in possession at the 48-yard line of Buffalo. They'll have second down and 9 from there. At the end of the third quarter, the score, Miami 7 and Buffalo 3. We'll be right back after these messages from your local. Both times these teams met last year, heavy rain, downpour for the opener in Buffalo, hurricane warning later in Miami when they played. Today you couldn't ask for a better day. Sunny skies, 75 degrees, sellout crowd at Rich Stadium.
Thank you, Buffalo.
You're going to come to Buffalo, you got to do it in September.
Yes.
First play of the fourth quarter, Delvin Williams takes the handoff from Bob Greasy, and on sheer determination gets 3 yards to the 45.
That was strictly a talent run by Delvin Williams. There was no blocking. He made a good gain out of it.
Isaiah Robertson tackled him. Robertson, a veteran of 6 Pro Bowls in his 10th year from Southern University.
And you don't think Delvin Williams is a good running back. That play was designed to go right up the middle, and he breaks it outside and picks up about 4 yards. That's strictly talent.
Don Shula has said frequently that Williams' change of direction and his reaction to situations is among the best of any back he's coached.
The way I describe it, he runs sideways as fast as I run forward. Of course, that's not very fast.
Well, after 4 knee operations, it's not surprising.
I have good hands, though, Bob.
14-12 to play in the ball game. Miami leading at 7-3. Greasy wants more, but he overthrows Tony Nathan.
Jeff Nixon was right there drooling. He almost had his 3rd interception of the game. This Buffalo defense has been very impressive, Bob. If they continue to play that way, I'm sure that Joe Ferguson won't have the kind of day, at least turnover-wise, that he's had today for the rest of the season. And this Buffalo club will be one to contend with, but you don't make mistakes against Don Shula and the Miami Dolphins. They take advantage eventually.
George Roberts in to kick. There he is, number 4. And Joe Cribbs, the rookie, who's had a busy day, waits at the 10-yard line and single safety. Roberts will take the snap at his own 40-yard line. It's the kick away. Cribbs lets it bounce. This is going to work out well for Miami. Then Cribbs picks it up, and only through providence was he saved an incredibly boneheaded mistake. Once he let it bounce, he should have left it alone. Then he fumbled it, but right into the hands of a teammate. Look at this.
Watch Joe Cribbs. This is just a poor rookie decision. Let that ball go. You've already made the mistake of letting it bounce. And almost cost
Tell you what, Joe Cribbs ought to buy Rod Cush dinner tonight. He recovered the loose ball.
Yankee
comes very tightly around the football this time.
They're
going to face third down.
He owes them. He had the holding penalty, and then he almost fumbled the punt. Look out, Giants.
Wild one in St. Louis. The Giants go in front again. Phil Simms to Johnny Perkins, 58 yards, 6:01 to play third quarter. Giants by 3. Atlanta closes the gap a bit on Minnesota, 21-13. Late in the third, Steve Bartkowski to Alfred Jenkins from 46 yards out for the Atlanta touchdown, 21-13. San Francisco by a touchdown over New Orleans, 20-13. That's also in the third. Chuck Muncie scored from 7 yards out, but they missed the extra point for New Orleans in the third quarter. And the same thing happened to Joe Ferguson in the first half. He had to waste a timeout because their formation was wrong, and he has to do it again here with 12 minutes and 36 seconds to play, and that might become a factor in the final 2 minutes. As Ferguson goes over to talk it over with Chuck Knox, he'll face 3rd and 3 when we come back with Miami up by 4. Three of them have gone to Ernest Gray. This one for 42 yards with 4:55 to play third quarter. The Giants lead St. Louis 31-21. What a day for Phil Simms. 4 touchdown passes. 12:36 remaining here. They need 3 yards, and Curtis Brown's got it for them. That is a big first down. Saves them having to punt out of their own end zone.
I'll tell you, on that play, I was expecting Ferguson to put it up, and I think it surprised the Miami defense that they would run the ball on 3rd and 3. Curtis Brown did a number on it.
So they get it out to the 19-yard line where they have 1st and 10. 12:08 left. It has been a weird ball game. Both teams have moved the ball, and both teams have continually given it away.
When you see those final stats, you'll see that Buffalo has just run all over Miami's defense but can't get in the end zone.
Dating back to 1979, Buffalo has scored only 1 touchdown in their last 4 games. Joe Cribbs takes the first down pass and is wrestled down by Kim Bocamper, and they're going to call him for grabbing the face mask. Ralph Ortega was also there. And somebody grabbed the face mask of Cribbs, and that will tack extra yardage onto the Buffalo game.
And it was inadvertent, so it will only be a 5-yard penalty and not a 15-yard penalty. So they'll only tack 5 more on. Here, take a look at it. Cribbs again with the great moves. This kid's got more moves than, well, I won't say it. But he did get a little bit of inadvertent on the face mask. It was Bocamper 58. Oh, they say it was intentional. That surprises me, Bob.
Gordon McCarter with the call right now.
Personal foul, face mask on the tackle, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Bocamper complained about it. Did you see him talking to McCarter? He said, I didn't do that on purpose. It's only supposed to be 5 yards when it's inadvertent.
Tim Foley was also pleading the case, the veteran strong safety, but to no avail. So a moment ago, they were first down and around their own 5-yard line. Now they're out to the 42. Lots more breathing room. 11:44 left in the game. Buffalo trailing Miami 7-3. Curtis Brown carries, slips through a tiny hole in midfield. Didn't appear to be much daylight, but he made use of it.
There's the advantage of that small, quick fullback, because you run inside on the 3-4 defense, and he got by betters who had to chase him down the field.
Don't forget, following this game, NBC Sports continues our coverage of the first week of the NFL season. You'll see either the Jets and Baltimore or Denver against Philadelphia. And a lot of people in Philly think that this is the year that Dick Vermeil's team assumes dominance in the NFC East.
Watch out for that Bronco defense, though.
Now, this is a fine how do you do. Curtis Brown going absolutely nowhere. Ralph Ortega all over him.
Worked once, but they didn't block the inside linebacker that time, and no little hole for Brown to sneak through.
No gain on the play.
Another big down, Bob.
Third down and 3. Ball at midfield. 10 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in the game. Bob Costas with Mike Hafner. Rich Stadium, Buffalo, New York. And the Bills trying to get around that Dolphin mystique. Miami has beaten them 20 consecutive times in regular season. That's an NFL record. The streak dates back to November of 1969. Ferguson with the bomb. Got a man out there, but it's over the head of Frank Lewis.
Threw it over the wrong shoulder, too, Bob. He was going on the post pattern. He threw it to the corner. And I think the pressure, again, on Ferguson was the reason for the poor throw.
Gerald Small, the fastest man on the Miami team, was back there on the coverage. So now on fourth down, Greg Cater, and each of his 2 punts so far in this, his debut, has been an adventure. He got a low snap on the first one, but got the kickoff in good shape. The second one, he juggled twice. It was partially blocked. That's Tony Nathan back there waiting deep. It went only about 10 or 12 yards. Miami got the ball deep in Buffalo territory, and Greasy immediately marched them in for the touchdown. Here's a fake. Cater
knew it.
A couple of rookies combined. The rookie punter, Greg Cater, finding the rookie tight end from Michigan State, Mark Crowder, all alone, and they get the first down on a daring maneuver.
And I was just going to say, Chuck Knox likes the fourth down play, and I said, nah, he won't run it here. And here he comes up with a pass, and why not? You pointed it out, Cater had punted well, might as well do something else, and they had good field position. There's Cater. Oh, he was a great actor on it, too. And Brammer's wide open. All he had to do was sit there and wait for it. An easy first down, and the Bills have got to capitalize here, Bob.
First and 10 at the Miami 35. So Cater has passed better than he has kicked so far. They fake a reverse. Cribbs keeps the ball, takes it around the right side, skips out of bounds. He got about 7.
Little tipsy-do here, huh?
And the Buffalo crowd is psyched up now, Mike.
I'll tell you, anytime you pull out those flea flickers, as they call them, any of the trick plays you have in your game plan, and every team goes in with 2 or 3, it really fires up the fans. And take a look here, Cribbs. I'll tell you what, Frank Lewis had a heck of a field if he'd have handed off. But Cribbs made 7 yards on it. It keeps the drive alive, and the fans fired up, as you said, and that keeps the adrenaline pumping, and this drive is going to go somewhere.
Curtis Brown and Joe Cribbs, the running backs. Butler goes wide to the left. Lewis is wide to the right. 9 minutes and 23 seconds to play in the game. They pitch it out to Curtis Brown. Brown stutter stepping, but stopped for a loss. It's going to be third down now, and about 5 yards to go for the first.
I question that call a little bit. A fullback sweep against the 3-4 defense. Not a very good call. I'd have thrown the ball on that down. You had the Miami defense back on its heels with the fake punt and pass, and then the fake reverse. That's the time to take advantage of them when they're confused. But a running play can stop the momentum.
Roland Hooks now is checked in, perhaps carrying a play with him from the bench. Lou Picone is also in. 2 wide receivers. Picone and Lewis on the right side, and another Butler on the left. Out of the shotgun. Third down and a long 5. Ferguson over the middle. Another interception. Butler, the intended receiver. Glenn Blackwood, younger brother of Lyle Blackwood, picked it off, and that is the 5th pass by Ferguson that has been intercepted. The Buffalo threat is thwarted. 8 minutes and 30 seconds remaining in the ball game. Miami with the ball, and still with that precarious 7-3 lead.
The world's.
Last year, Ferguson suffered only 15 interceptions. This afternoon in the opener, 5 already.
That was a silly throw again. He tried to force it. Glenn Blackwood was the better receiver of the 2. Jerry Butler never had a chance at that ball. Ferguson's going to have to calm down a little bit. If you haven't got anybody open, pull it down, take the loss. It's much better than a turnover. And there you see the turnover. 7-4, that's the story of the game.
Still time for Buffalo. 8 minutes and 30 seconds remaining. Miami with the ball now. Nat Moore goes in motion. They hand it to Delvin Williams. Williams trying to sweep the right side. Great pursuit by the Buffalo defense. Loose football, but it's out of bounds. Lucius Sanford made the tackle.
Williams carried that by Sanford.
Shane Nelson tried to pounce on the loose ball, but it was already out of bounds. Mike?
I'm sure that Buffalo defense is a little tired of having to come back out on the field every time they don't expect it. But again, they played it well. The great pursuit. You can't run outside consistently against the 3-4 defense, or they'll just outrun you.
Let me ask you something, Mike. You often hear in an analysis of a game, the defense spent too much time on the field, and yet the offense they're playing against is also out there. Why does the defense get more tired than the offense?
The main reason is when you come off and have to come back on when you don't expect it. It's really hard to get the re-pump of the adrenaline. Not very hard when you come in on offense.
They lost 2 on the play at 2nd and 12. The handoff is juggled, but Nathan holds onto it. And he's upended by Steve Freeman.
That's really a good question, Bob, and needs to be explained a little more, I think. Offensive players get excited anytime they can get in on offense. And they don't mind coming on and off the field, on and off the field. But the defense needs to get into a set pattern. Let's stop the drive, then we get off. Then we get our rest while our offense is having their long drive. But if you have to keep coming back and on and off the field, it's really hard to start and restart the adrenaline.
Buffalo trying to stop Miami here on 3rd and 6 from the 26. 7:40 left. They give it to Nathan. He's close, but he's not there. Buffalo stopped them, and Roberts will have to come in and punt.
Joe gets another chance to throw an interception. I hate to say that, but you have to give Miami credit, too. They played it well.
The Buffalo defense gets a standing ovation from the crowd at Rich Stadium.
They haven't seen much of a defense in the last 5 years, but you knew when Chuck Knox came in, eventually they'd have a sound defense, and it looks like he's put it together.
Miami has converted on only 3 of 9 third down opportunities. Pacone and Cribbs are the deep men. They're standing around their own 30-yard line, and there's George Roberts. He's averaged over 40 yards the last 2 seasons for Miami. A little better than 36 on 4 kicks today. The left-footed booter gets it off and drives Cribbs all the way back to the 20-yard line. Cribbs finds a little bit of daylight, gets across the 30, spun down at the 32. Buffalo will set up shop at their own 32-yard line, trailing 7-3. We have 6 minutes and 44 seconds to play in the game, and we'll be right back. It will be the must drive now for Ferguson and the Bills. It's the drive on which they don't have to worry about time. If they don't score this time and they get it back, as they probably would anyway, then the clock would be a factor.
Very true, Bob. They've got to do something here.
1st and 10 from their 32. They call on Joe Cribbs, and Cribbs gets 2 or 3 yards. Ferguson looking over toward the bench. The quarterback coach, Kay Stevenson, and the head coach, Chuck Knox, are combining to send the plays in for Ferguson.
I bet Ferguson's worried about the next pass he throws. I wonder if he's lost any of his confidence after 5 interceptions.
He sends Lewis left and Butler right. Cribbs and Brown are his running backs. Reuben Gant is his tight end. 6:08 to play in the game. Ferguson will go to the air again. A risky proposition. This time it's complete. Looks like Butler with the leaping catch. No, it's Lewis. Frank Lewis, number 82, makes the reception. A first down for the Bills.
Good call. He set up nice in the pocket, and he answered my question for me. He has not lost his confidence. He drilled that Hummer right in there. It's nice to have a veteran like Frank Lewis on the other end. You know you're going to help him out there. But that really helped Ferguson. He knows that he's got to bring this club back after 5 interceptions.
Gain of 14 out to the 48. 5 minutes and 30 seconds to play in the game. Ferguson goes right back to the air on first down. Being pursued, he flips it out and into Joe Cribbs. Cribbs is into Miami territory. Sidestepping tackles. Cribbs is to the 42-yard line.
Excellent call, Bob. That screen pass is perfect.
The clock clock is moving. We have exactly 5 minutes to play now. Here's Beaucamper putting pressure on, but Ferguson sidesteps him, and it turns into a big play to Joe Cribbs.
It cost him. They fooled Beaucamper that time with the screen pass, and Cribbs made a nice run by cutting it back against the grain.
Got a good block from Conrad Dobler, the former New Orleans Saints and the former St. Louis Cardinal star. Curtis Brown lowers his head and runs into a stone wall. Gain of maybe a yard on the play.
That's all he needed, though.
Spot the ball just outside the 40-yard line. First and 10. Clock moving. 4 minutes and 18 seconds remaining. Buffalo has 2 timeouts left. Miami has 3. The Dolphins lead it 7-3. It was 3-0 Buffalo on a 40-yard Nick Mickemeyer field goal at halftime. In the third quarter, Tony Nathan took a touchdown pass, a short one from Bob Greasy. The Dolphins went up 7-3. That's where we stand now. Ferguson pumping and throwing. He's down around the 11-yard line.
You really have to admire Joe Ferguson. 5 interceptions. Most guys would just fold under the pressure, but he's standing in there and firing away just as if he hadn't thrown any interceptions in the game. There's a look at Joe. Confidence all over his face. The pump fake to give the chance for Jerry Butler to make his out move to the corner, and he hits him right on the button. And I'll tell you, it takes a lot of guts from Joe Ferguson to keep throwing into the teeth of that defense after 5 interceptions.
The second-year man from Clemson, Jerry Butler, hauling it in. 3:56 remaining. First and 10 from the 11. They could get a first down at the 1. Joe Cribbs with a flag down, getting to about the 9. Clock stops on the penalty with 3:52 left.
Ooh, this is where the Miami defense gets tough.
The penalty is on the Dolphins.
And they can make a first down, Bob, and that's important. That first and 5 from about the 5.5 really can help them. Now they don't have to throw. They can possibly run the ball 4 times and still get a first down.
Now worried Don Shula. Watching from walking off against his Dolphins. And Gordon McCarter, the referee, takes to the microphone.
Defense, repeat first down.
Ball's right at the 6, Bob, so they can get a first down inside the 1. And with 4 shots to make 5 yards, you better be able to do it.
A close-up look as Will Grant prepares to snap it to Joe Ferguson, who hands it to Curtis Brown. Brown fights off what could have been a loss and gets to the 4-yard line. Could have been a 3-yard loss. He turned it into a 2-yard gain.
That might be one of the toughest 2-yard gains going.
And Brown is hurt. He goes limping off.
Good time for Leaks anyway with his size.
Leaks comes in as we look at Brown's run again.
You hate to say a 2-yard run was spectacular, but it was. He could have been thrown for a loss a number of times and broke 3 or 4 tackles and even got out of bounds, stopped the clock. Although they don't need it really here.
Mark Brammer, the rookie tight end, is in. He wears number 86. They've got the 2 tight end offense. Reuben Gadd is also in there. There goes Cribbs in motion. Ferguson rolling left on second down, flipping it out to Leak. Touchdown! Roosevelt Leak with the 4-yard touchdown reception.
This sold-out crowd's going bananas, and they crossed me up. They could have run it here. But again, he goes to that guy who never catches the ball, at least not in the prior years in his career. And Rosie's in the end zone, and the Buffalo crowd's going nuts. They love it. Great credit to Joe Ferguson on that drive.
And now for the point after. David Hum, acquired recently from Oakland, will hold. Mickemeyer will kick. It's good. And now it's Bob Greasy and the Dolphins who have to try and come back with 3 minutes and 42 seconds to play in the game. It's Buffalo 10, 64-yard pass from Joe Ferguson to Roosevelt Leaks. They are in front 10-7. Miami with 3:42 to work with. Tony Nathan is the deep man. Mickemeier's kick. Drives him into the end zone. Nathan won't bring it out. They'll take it at the 20. And it's bedlam at Rich Stadium.
Sold out crowd, and they love it, Bob. After all that adversity for Joe Ferguson, he brought him back 68 yards in 7 plays. This place is going nuts, and they're screaming defense now. Woke up the cheerleaders, too.
And 36 seconds left. Bob Greasy has had problems of his own. Miami has turned the ball over 4 times.
Greasy's been in this spot a couple times. 3 minutes to go, 3.5. You know you've got to get at least a field goal to put it in overtime.
And they've got a guy with a strong leg. Uwe von Schaman can connect from 50 and more, so if they can get close, he could bring them to a tie. Steve Howell trying to go outside. And Don Shula has gone to his bench and brought in Don Strock.
You asked me about the long arm? I told you that Greasy didn't have it anymore, and so he's gone to the guy with the big arm. Don Strock out of Virginia Tech. It's up to him now, and he's only won 1 game in relief in his entire career with Miami. So here's a chance.
In games that he started, he's 9-5, including 3-0 against the Bills. He's a 54% career passer.
It only brought him back once. I think it was against Green Bay, as my memory serves me.
So Don Strock in for the first time, and this will be his first pass of the day on 2nd down. It's complete. And it's good for a first down.
What a tough spot to put Strock in. He hadn't played all day. You come off the bench with 3.5 to go and say, okay, you want the starting job? Take the team 80 yards and win it.
Delvin Williams caught the pass. Clock moving with 3:05 left. Miami has all 3 of their timeouts left. Buffalo has 2 remaining.
Buffalo would love to see that clock run out in 5 seconds.
The Bills lead the Dolphins 10-7, trying to break a 20-game losing streak against Miami. Longest in NFL history. Strock again. Intercepted. Isaiah Robertson takes it off. Robertson across the 40. Robertson moving deep into Miami territory. Robertson running like O.J. Simpson is down to the 10.
They're going nuts, Bobby. They love it. They deserve it after 20 straight losses.
The interception alone was enough, but can you believe the return by Isaiah?
I think Miami knows that it's over. As soon as that ball was picked off, and Isaiah's going to take advantage of a lot of arm tackles from guys that say, that's the end of the game, folks.
But it isn't really. Not if they can hold them to a field goal here. They'd have enough time with all 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning remaining. They could very well come back in a position where they trail by only 6.
I've seen it happen before in the NFL, but boy, the Bills are just hired kites now. Hiring Rocky Mountain goats.
Isaiah Robertson, brought here to Buffalo by his old Rams coach Chuck Knox. Paying big dividends today. Joe Cribbs carries on first down. Tim Foley makes the tackle. Clock is moving, and we'll probably get the 2-minute warning before the next snap. We're at 2:15 right now.
Miami jumped on him, called timeout. Now they'll get 4 timeouts in essence because they get the 2-minute warning also. But you're right, they got to hold them here. I mean, this is the game right now.
This is a very smart move to call the timeout now.
Oh,
There's no point saving your timeouts for when you have the ball. You'd like to have them, but that's when you can conserve time. If you got to use them, you might as well use them when you're on defense.
Very good point. They'll get another one in 16 seconds, meaning after the next play, and then still have 2 more.
Well, theoretically, they could call another one right after the next play and not let it get down to the 2-minute warning.
Good point.
And very well, in that case, if they stop them on 2 more plays, have about 1 minute and 55 seconds and still 1 more timeout left when they get the ball back.
Don't give up yet, Miami fans. We'll find a way for you to get back to this game.
I'm telling you, the atmosphere here in Buffalo is unbelievable.
Just electric.
There are many fans here who were not born the last time the Buffalo Bills
people have left either, Bob. They want to see this first-time win.
They sold more than 80,000 tickets for today's game. They had only 422 no-shows.
They're hungry in Buffalo.
Second down and a long 8 from the 9-yard line with 2 minutes and 16 seconds left. Buffalo 10 and Miami 7. Leaks and Cribbs on the running back. Set in the eye behind Joe Ferguson.
Buffalo run the ball, Bob. They've got to run that clock down. Yes, a sweep, too, to take more time.
Joe Cribbs is stopped. Let's see if they use a timeout. They do with 2:09 left.
Perfect time to call the timeout. It ain't over.
If they can stop them on this play, the 2-minute warning will stop the clock prior to what would be an obvious field goal attempt. And then trailing 13-7, they would have one timeout in nearly 2 minutes for either Greasy or Strock, depending upon what Shula tries to do, to bring them back.
There's still time. It's never over until the gun goes off.
Don't forget, we got baseball live in prime time as the pennant races heat up at the Astrodome in Houston. The Dodgers and the Astros. That's Tuesday night, 8 o'clock Eastern time. Big race in the National League West or the race in the National League East. Pittsburgh against the Phillies. One of those two games. Dodgers, Astros, Pirates, Phils. Tuesday night, prime time, 8 o'clock Eastern time on NBC.
One of those 4 teams have been definitely in the World Series. One of those 4 for sure.
Cincinnati and Montreal might object to that assessment.
They haven't got the pitching staff that those other 4 clubs do.
Third and 6 from the 7-yard line. Will Ferguson cross them up and go with the pass? Let's see. 2:09 left. He will. Wants to go sideline. It's caught by Frank Lewis at the 1-yard line. Now let's see if they've got the first down. Ferguson is telling Knox that they're short of it.
They're a little shorter than what Ferguson showed. It might be about 4 or 5 inches. Now, do you kick the field goal here? Or do you go for the first down? I'll tell you what I do. I go for the touchdown.
So would I, because if you get the touchdown, the game is a lock. If you don't get it, they still got to go 55 or 60 yards to even be in field goal range to tie you. They got to go 99 to beat you.
And you don't see a field goal team on the field, so they're going for it.
Fourth and about that much with 2:05 left.
You don't quarterback sneak here, but Ferguson might, but I give it to Rosie Leaks. He'll get it for you.
Cribbs waltzing over the top. Touchdown.
There's a look at Joe Cribbs. They taught him to do this in Auburn. Up and over. A little Sam Bam Cunningham. He's been watching the tube in the past. And Cribbs has become a hero in this town in just 1 football game. And that's it. I don't see any way that Miami's going to continue the streak. And the Bills have finally done it after 20 straight.
Mickemeyer trying to add the point, which would make it 17-7. There it is, straight through. It may now be safe to say that the 20-game jinx dating back to 1969 that Miami has held over Buffalo is about to come to an end. 2 minutes and 2 seconds left. The Bills 17 and the Dolphins 7. And what a day it's been, a day of adventure for rookie Joe Cribbs in his NFL debut. He's returned kicks. He split it with disaster, almost fumbling inside his own 10-yard line. He has scored a touchdown. He's caught passes and run well from scrimmage. And seemingly, he's firmed up that starting job, which he wrested away from Terry Miller in training camp.
A lot of credit, too, to Chuck Knox. This defense has come a long, long way. There's a look at Cribbs. There's a happy rookie, I'll tell you.
Well-deserved pat on the back.
Oh, yes. It's been an adventurous day for the entire Bills club. I mean, for 3+ quarters, it was a disaster for them, and they've come back and really put this game out of reach.
Mickemeyer will kick. Tony Nathan is the deep man. And up a few yards ahead of him are Nick Giaquinto and Don Veselu flanking him. Mickemeyer, with his adrenaline flowing, drills one about 5 yards deep. Nathan decides to bring it out. Tony Nathan hoping for the big return. Butts heads with a few people and gets across the 25. Just to the 25, let's say. Officially, this will be the 2-minute warning. Actually, the clock shows 1:52, and we'll be back right after this.
Watch what happened.
Buffalo fans exult at Rich Stadium. This place is still rocking.
Oh, they love it. I mean, after 20 straight losing to Miami, I'd go bananas too.
They're on their feet again. Another standing ovation. The game is all but wrapped up, but nobody's leaving. They want to stay around and savor it.
Oh, yes.
Don Strock stays in. They need a quick touchdown bomb, an onside kick, a field goal, and overtime. And if all that happens, I think I'll faint dead away. They complete the pass over the middle to Dorial Harris. Clock moving inside 140.
I've never seen a Miami team quit. They won't quit this time either.
They're out at the 43. And now a fan runs on the field, and that forces the officials to stop the clock. Security men double team him and bring him down with a harder tackle than any I've seen today from the Bills or the Dolphins.
He doesn't deserve the recognition, Bob. That's silly. He could hurt one of his own players. I mean, I know he's excited, but save it for after the game for the parties.
I don't think he's in any shape to make it to the parties.
He might spend the night in jail, I think.
Exactly 1:30 left. From their own 43, a first down for the Dolphins. Don Strock taking what they're giving him, which is the short one over the middle to Tony Nathan, who is stopped near midfield with the clock moving at 1:22.
It's up to the defense to get back onside, and they did.
Strock lining them up quickly. Another completion. Again, it's Nathan. About the 43-yard line of Buffalo. Inside a minute, 55 seconds.
Got to go deep soon.
To the sideline. Incomplete. That stops the clock. Matt Moore, the intended target. Next week, the Dolphins have their home opener at the Orange Bowl against Cincinnati. We'll be there, Mike.
And I think it'll be a little more successful than today.
And Buffalo will be back at home here at Rich Stadium. They'll honor O.J. Simpson at halftime, induct him into their Hall of Fame, and they'll play the New York Jets. The explosive New York Jets with Richard Todd at quarterback and Wesley Walker and Lamb Jones as his targets.
They can win the 4x400 meters, I guarantee you that.
Strock on second down and 10. Uncorks one deep. Broken up in the end zone.
Good job by Nixon. Matt Moore he was looking for. It was Elmer Bailey. The rookies come in. And I said Strock had to go upstairs soon. There were only 43 seconds to go. Bailey almost gets in there, but Nixon makes a great play. And he's had quite an afternoon.
He might be in line for a game ball. A couple of interceptions, fumble recovery.
Yeah, I'd say so. If he doesn't get one, it'll be an injustice. They might get 5 or 6 for this game. Krebs deserves one. Roosevelt Leach has had a whale of a game.
Maybe the owner, Ralph Wilson, ought to get one. He's waited longer than anybody for a win over Miami. Third down, 10 to go. Strock on the run, heaving deep. That's Nixon again. Nixon with a 40 today.
That solves the game ball problem right there.
He should have just kept it.
He'll get it back, I guarantee you. Can't blame Strock. He's got to throw it up. He's got to go for the point so they can get the ball back. And Nixon playing center field said, "Thank you very much, Mr. Struck. That's my third." And I'll remember this afternoon. Jeff Nixon's name will be emblazoned on the stopping of that streak.
26 seconds left. Miami has one timeout remaining if they decide to use it in a nearly hopeless situation, as the Buffalo Bills are about to close the books on a 20-game Miami winning streak.
I'd be surprised if Joe Ferguson even hands the ball off here.
He'll just form a wedge around him, protecting him as he goes down. I think Miami does use the timeout with 20 seconds left.
Never give up. Game's not over until it's over, as Yogi Berra once said.
You see what Yogi did when Johnny Bench hit a home run a while back to surpass Berra's record for all-time homers by a catcher? Yogi sends Johnny a telegram which reads, "Congratulations, I always thought my record would stand until it was broken."
Yogi's famous for that.
So this will be the last play from the Buffalo 4-yard line. The Dolphins will leave here and head home at 0-1. Buffalo will be 1-0. And Don Shula is thinking about that 0-1 record, not his lucrative new 3-year contract right now.
I guarantee you, Don Shula, one of the finest coaches in the history of the National Football League, and will go on to probably be one of the greatest ever, if he already isn't. These Dolphins will bounce back. They will not be pushovers, folks, I guarantee you.
Some of the fans filing out, but others remaining in their seats, embracing one another. This is a truly joyous moment in Buffalo. That was the last play. They'll just wind it down.
Not a bad way to open the season, huh, Bob?
They're carrying